We vibing with chickens from the seven. We riding. Fuck around with it, get another time in. Finding, get it another time in. Get the slime, get it another time in. But you know, just sitting on trying to do this thing, man, like your dad, like Joe Biden. God damn, that shit go hard. Anyways, hello, hi, welcome. Where's my theme music? There I am. Hello. Hi. Welcome. It is me. You're a kid. You're a guy. You're a boy. Early in the morning, get late at life. And that's like this apple. The world keeps turning. And as the week comes to a close, that means we only have another week of more niggas to be expected and come. We got shit to do. We got shit to talk about. We got shit to say. We finna get into it. Hello, welcome, Rumenpong, Bienvenido, Wagwan. Let's start at the top of the hour. Because this finna be the one that annoys the piss out of people who are not prepared for it. Trust me, this news is gonna be wild. I can promise you this news is gonna be wild. Let's go with the first one. Allow me to go to my timeline and pull up the news for you. So this one I saw myself, and I made fun of it myself. Ouch. What's poppin'? Hey, don't mind me, you watching. Ding dong. The witch is getting some bread, and not the best kind. Warner Brothers Discovery earnings report reveals Suicide Squad Killed the Justice League caused a 41% loss in video game revenue. My first thought, 41% exactly? God's got a weird sense of humor. And yet further combination that the game was a complete and total misfire in every single regard. Warner Brothers Discovery earnings report reveals that the latest absolute failure of Kill the Justice League led to the quarterly video games revenue declining in several digits. As detailed by the company in their Quarter 2 2024 earnings report, the overall studio revenue for the quarter compared to the same period the year before decreased by 4%, with TV revenue declining 27%, primarily driven by the timing of initial telecast productions as well as lower licensing sales. Theatrical revenues increasing by 19% ex-FX, primarily due to the higher home entertainment revenue from Dune Part 2 and higher box office carryover due to the performance of Godzilla x Kong: The New Empire. And while the double-digit declines are significant, they pale in comparison to the damage done to the financials caused to the underperformance of the video games division, where gaming revenue declined 41%, driven primarily by the weak performance of Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League this year compared to the strong performance of Hogwarts Legacy in the prior year. Speaking to the revenue drop during the company's accompanying Quarter 2 sales call, Like Warner Brothers discovered the CFO Gunnar Weidenfels again outright admitted that Kill the Justice League was a major reason for the financial stumble. Now turning to studios, we enjoyed healthy theatrical revenue despite underperformance from recent releases, aided by a strong carryover from Q1 releases. Experiences and consumer product revenues continued to perform nicely, and we remain very upbeat about the opportunities we see in better coordinating processes around managing franchises. Television was down, particularly as we worked through the last of the strike-delayed deliveries, which sets us up for a big swing in the second half. While, as we've called out last quarter, games are still struggling here against last year's Hogwarts Legacy comp, a muted response from Suicide Squad this year. Further, when later pressed by Goldman Sachs analyst Michael Nigg during the presentation of quarter's Q&A portion as to whether Warner Bros. Discovery considered the video game operations as a core part of the portfolio, like Warner Bros. Discovery CEO and President of Global Streaming and Games, J.B. Perrette, likewise admitted that Task Force X's latest mission was an absolute bust. Yes. Positively answering, we know that our franchise is particularly a world within the gaming industry, launching new brand franchises is getting harder and harder for a number of reasons, including IDFA, which means Identifier for Advertisers, appreciation, and more challenges within marketing and customer acquisitions, and that franchises like the one that we have are in high demand and can help in launching games. You still need a great game, and the reality is that we have had the unfortunate in the short period of 12 months going from having a record year with 2023 with Legacy to unfortunately having the opposite of the spectrum with Suicide Squad. With Kill the Justice League's latest DLC character, Mrs. Freeze, available for purchase for all 4 of the game's remaining players. And if that's not enough to keep them to keep playing, per a tease with the aforementioned DLC pack, they can look forward to Deadshot's daughter, Zoe Lawton, joining the team in the near future, which is something that was data mined and probably should not have been reported on since it was not officially released yet. But you know, what does this story tell us, chat? What does this story tell us? It's crazy. Carl, is it actually true? No, that is actually true. That is not a meme. It has been reported on. Don't get ahead of yourself. We're not there in that part of the news story yet. It's not a story that you should be cheerful about. It's actually very sad. But on the subject of that shit, what does that tell us, chat? I know what it tells me. It tells me that this, again, is a monetary tracking. The fact that the identifiers for advertisers is supposed to be signal boosters through these materials tells us that the majority of the things that are at this level of gameplay and relevance is being analyzed by all of the people in charge of the money. So when people say this is not anything to do with anything and people are blaming things like SBI for this, they should, because you are directly responsible for a significant pitfall in the revenue stream. Blame Rocksteady, blame SBI, blame the entire structure. Every single part of it was cantankerous to the failure of the declining brand, and they should be admonished as such, meaning this is another feather in the hat of consumers being able to say that they are receiving justice in the form of bad games going the way of the dodo, and good games potentially being able to have a spot on the field where they can be seen and heard. That doesn't mean that it's perfect. It doesn't mean that you are winning an eternal victory and therefore you should be shitposting on their parade. It means that you should be paying attention to this and referring to stories like this as a way for you to know whether or not shit is real or is not. Always read the article. Don't just read the fucking headline. Always read the article. Ultimately, at the end of the day, my glasses are dirty. Ultimately, at the end of the day, the important thing here is that by knowing the numbers, you have a lot more than, look, they coping, seething, go woke, go broke, go woke, go broke. You need to have more than that. Because it's meaningless if you just say, get woke, go broke. You need to understand that they're already woke, if that's the word you want to use. It's go broke, get woke, ultimately croak. Shoutouts to Razor Fist. Is this clean enough now? Can I see without seeing fucking molecules of dust? That looks about right. Because as we continue to be pulled into a field with grifting news journalists and grifting, let's use the word commentators. People who can't tell you the numbers and the reasons why these numbers make sense are people who are not actually trying to help you, they are trying to sell you something. I'm of the opinion, at this point in time, where before I was in the wait-and-see period, like many people were, I can definitively say there is nothing good or positive that is going to come out of the reporting that comes from people like Grums. Now I gotta clean it again, probably. Yep, gotta clean it again, probably. That comes from the mouth and mind of people like Grums or Computus Rambo. Because the problem with constantly saying, cope seethe, is that nothing positive comes out of your movement. You can't eternally be so concerned about things that are woke without being able to define things like, what does the game play like? By all means, call it woke. By all means, put it on a list. But you realize it makes more sense for you to not put bad games on a list than it does for you to put good games on a list and don't even have the bad games on that list. It says a lot more about the direction and focus, especially since you can't counter the accusations and criticisms if you do nothing but talk about things that you hate. Of course, my opinion, do what you want, but you're probably going to see better return with my advice than not. Moving into the new news. This one, because Johnny brought it up, is unfortunate. Let's go from the insider position. Because technically, I should have made it into a Printing Press Express, but I was too busy. It is with profound sadness that I share the news of Susan Wojcicki's passing. My beloved wife of 26 years and mother to our 5 children left us today. Susan was not just my best friend and partner in life, but a brilliant mind, a loving mother, and a dear friend to many. Her impact on our family and the world was immeasurable. You say that again. We are heartbroken. We're grateful for the time we had with her. Please keep our family in your thoughts as we navigate this difficult time. I'm gonna be deadass and for real with you. If you try to shitpost and make fun of fucking Susan Wojcicki just because of the things that she did when she was alive, over the fucking tragedy of her death, I'm permabanning you. Here's why. I'll quote the man himself. Probably one of the best and one of the many content creators that is responsible for how I've chosen to shape the way that I approach things and look at things on the topic. Gotta go to him on my timeline though. 1 second. From Dr. Emmer again. One of the members of the Honey Badgers, and also one of many countless content creators, like technically myself and Jay and others, that have been fucked over by the actions of Susan Wojcicki and her leadership of YouTube during the time in which she had the power to do so. I'd be rich if it wasn't for Susan. There's no telling how much she cost me and countless others, but I'm still not glad she's dead. Wow, that wasn't difficult at all. Because clearly, many times that this usually happens, people shitpost on the person and say, I'm glad they're gone. I'm not. Because just because I don't like the things that she did, and the policies she's made, and the changes that she's done, that doesn't mean that I hate her existence and want her to suffer. Quite the opposite, actually. I prefer her to give the ability and to have the ability to be seen, heard, and communicate these things that are supposed to be important. Changes to the platform that are important, things that matter, and shit like this. Because I can see, as we go around the internet, there are some people that have the right mind about it, and there are those that have the wrong mind about it. Let's look at a couple of those takes now. Unbelievably saddened by the loss of my dear friend Susan Wojcicki after 2 years of living with cancer. She is a core to the history of Google as anyone, and it is hard to imagine a world without her. She was an incredible person, leader, and friend who had a tremendous impact on the world, and I'm one of countless Googlers who's better for knowing her. We will miss her dearly. Our thoughts are with her family. Rest in peace, Susan. And then, of course, Laura Loomer doing that fuck shit that nobody goddamn likes. Just a reminder that under Susan Wojcicki, YouTube carried out massive amounts of censorship, called support for Trump misinformation, and banned people who spoke out about the dangers of vaccines and said the election was stolen. Wojcicki was a terrible woman who will be remembered for silencing millions of voices, including mine. Wojcicki will be remembered for her assault on free speech and working with governments to label conservative speech as misinformation. Just an awful woman. Sundar Pichai maybe should cry about the death of free speech instead. This right here, this is how you lose. Why? And, just to knock some of the arguments out of the way, girl, how could you? Don't you understand that she did all this shit? Yeah, you can have that opinion, but the woman's freshly dead. Do you have no fucking decorum? Well, but the people that we voted against didn't. Yeah, they didn't. And when you act like this, you give them the credence to do more against you. It's not even about political tactic. But if you want to be a pragmatist, you don't act like this when a person is freshly dead. Why? Because it means that you don't understand or care about basic human decency. And if you're so consumed by the elephant that you're willing to commit effectively political terrorism through the form of denouncing and defacing a person after they have died due to reasons that are tragic for anyone, then it means that you view that there is no venue that can be considered private and considered, it is now known, private and considered for the time to grieve the dead before continuing with business as usual. Even in the rules of war, you have the right to retrieve and bury the dead, and this is no more than digital desecration of Susan's corpse, because you feel the need that you gotta say yo 15 fucking licks. It's the same shit that's done by Grums. It's the same shit that's done by Brutus Rambo. However it started, it doesn't matter. This is how you want to be remembered? Is this what you want people to think of every single time they see your name? No, I don't think it is. That's not politically good for your tactics. On the moral side, this should feel horrible. Because again, be mad at the choices. Don't be mad at the person. This is nothing more than disgrace and embarrassment as well as ad hominem. And ultimately, it can be used to further censor you. So what? I should only be allowed to have these thoughts on the inside? Pretty much, yeah. Pretty much. But that's beautiful. I would rather say it out loud. Okay, say it out loud. Do what you feel. Be blessed, beloved. Oh man, that's crazy. That doesn't work out for you, huh? That's where we're at right now. Of course, there's more bittersweet examples, like the one that I read to you. But Let's read the one from Pimp Master Broda. Feel bad for her family, but that's it. The way she ran YouTube resulted in a mass decline and screwed over so many creators, including high censorship, double standards, and demonetization. So many people had to quit YouTube because of her. I remember when demonetization was well at its worst, with thousands of creators begging her to do something. Anything. She made a YouTube channel and barely used it, settling instead to post blogs. Elon at least talks regularly with people on Twitter. Susan was unreachable. In a way, it was worse, because for the allowance of false DMCA claims and copy strikes and no black or fraudulent claims hurt the site. Then, compounding that with a lack of transparency about how they wish to change the algorithm, you personally had to learn statistical analysis to make your content better. I should have brought this up too. Having to make creators give their full name and address and phone number to fight back against a fraudulent DA claim system is one of the stupidest things I have ever seen in my life. It was intentionally done several times to dox a creator. In fact, it was easier to DMCA someone than it was to fight being insulting. Doing an experiment using a fake channel and spoofing an IP to DMCA yourself, and did it with little effort. All you had to have was a WordPress site and bam, you can take down a fake channel. This criticism, easy, open. Did it without calling her all the names and words. This is how you create and gauge your reactions. This is how you make criticism. You don't gotta fucking burn and raise the corpse. It's necessary that you do this, because in order to get the points across, they need to be heard and received in the correct context. Do you think people are going to listen to the criticisms you have of Susan Wojcicki and Google if you behave like Laura Luna, or if you behave like me and Pimp Master Broda? Gauge your reactions. Curb your enthusiasm. Get back to me when you do that. As my mom said, being dead don't make her a saint, but I'll control what I want to say because I'm too superstitious to throw insult at the dead willy-nilly. She may try to pull you by your feet from hell. Act crazy, bro. This is indeed in the worst taste, and you should never use a death to push agendas. I did some investigation on this shit. I've seen horrible fucking takes about Susan. The less that you look into it, chat, the better. What I can say, and what should be said, is regardless of Susan's intentions, she probably believed in what she wanted to do in software for the site. And because people feel a certain way, they're going to pull her into a fucking culture war. I'm not participating in it. The most I'll do is report on her passing. That's it. I wash my hands. Because even if the policies that she pushed for and institutionalized for the website remains, there's nothing that you can say on Twitter that I think is going to change the mind of a Googler in the organization, that's going to change the mind of the Googler who has to hear your responses, or any justification you might have for what might be a statement that you will then regret after you've made it. Don't be Laura Loomer, basically. Don't be Laura Loomer. That being said, moving on. To bring this up, with a little bit of some lighter news. I have drama for you. Some retarded ass drama.
Content warning.
DemonMamaDrama. DemonMamaDrama. Llama. One of the greatest milks that one could milk. Apparently, has pulled a Poppy Xena, which is crazy. Let's dive right in. before we get started, is there any particular comment, question, concern that somebody wants to give on the topic before we move on? Give y'all about 30 seconds to leave your concerns on the thoughts of YouTube, sans Wajiki, and where you think the website's going to go about it. I need to pee. Be right back. Okay. I take the chat has no opinions, which means we are all of our own minds. Let's dive in.
This video contains descriptions of despicable acts and depravity involving children that may disgust or disturb you. Do not listen to this video in any public places or where others may hear the content described herein.
Well, I'm inside my house, outside of the public, dressed in all my lazy finery. Hit me! Hit me, Tyler!
No graphic images will be shown directly, though representations obscured with mosaic overlays may be used. Viewer discretion is advised. On July 29th...
Yep. There's lots that I can't say, but I know it's best to keep the sword in the sheath, and it's not like she was already gone from YouTube for a while. Realistically, she gave her position to someone. I believe it was an immigrant minority figure. I don't think they had any relationship to the website. I think they were brought in as a replacement because they came from the tech sector. Something along those lines. Don't quote me on that. And then probably left public eye because she was fighting cancer for 2 years. Which, she deserves to have a privacy if she's going to be suffering through cancer. Because dealing with the retarded fucking statements that are going to come from people who are going to dislike her and her policies is cancer enough. That would only exacerbate her healing process. And unfortunately, she lost her fight. It is what it is. It is what it is. I hate the policies that she's put on the website, but I don't know the woman personally in order to be able to hate her, because I don't know her.
2024, a self-identified leftist online political commentator and live streamer known online by her handle DemonMama aired a roughly 3-hour and 5-minute live stream titled "Xander Hall Wants a Nuke? Here is your nuke." During the video, she laid out a series of accusations against another politics live streamer in her space, the Xander Hall mentioned in the title. In this live stream, amongst a number of issues, DemonMama claimed Xander Hall was especially onerous in his treatment of an employee known as Cherry Bread in online spaces, particularly accusing him of withholding pay for selfish reasons and generally being abusive. Now, mind you, these were not issues that DemonMama had just found out about or that had recently occurred, but rather had happened over half a year prior and never been reported. Allegations that included abuse of a worker by their employer, exploitation, and even death threats. While Xander Hall was justifiably browbeaten for his bad behavior, for some reason, only I was asking a question that I thought would be obvious to everybody. What kind of person covers up evidence of abuse and death threats for months?
An abusive person who would use that to increase their political capital for gain. The exact kind of person that Laura Loomer is what the majority of RedTube and CornRedTube is. They are known for this. It is to be expected from them. They don't act like human beings. They are human, but they don't act like human beings. They love to put people at the mercy of knowing that they have something that can hang over your head. That's who sits on that. That's the kind of person that sits on that.
In order to blackmail somebody? The answer is the sort of person who will cover up other stuff as well. And that answer led, obviously, to the second question. What kind of stuff?
Fashion. He got uppity with me because I made fun of the idea.
Anybody with a passing knowledge of Demon Mama knows she's closely connected to and in real life.
Closely connected, minted, crafted, born from the fetish of horse cum, dripping off of Vosh.
Friends with Ian Kaczynski, known online as Vosh Vidya or Vosh. Vosh's roughly half-decade-long career online has been plagued with a series of scandals involving his ready use of child pornography and child sexual abuse as a rhetorical lever while crafting arguments. In fact, much of Vosh's rhetorical structure revolves around the use of sexual innuendo and even outright gross sexual imposition against others. Some of the best-known memes regarding the, at the time of writing, 457,000 sub YouTuber involve painting him as a child sexual predator and his well-documented and outspoken desire to engage in acts of bestiality as a male horse.
Yes, sir. Blow up them poppy links.
This culminated in early February 2024 when Vosh accidentally streamed the contents of a folder filled with pornography to a live audience of thousands, including a drawn image involving children performing oral sex on a horse. This is actually an important detail for later. Now colloquially known as the Taxes folder incident, Vosh's pornography drop was condemned by nearly the entirety of the internet, with a few notable exceptions. To this day, Demon Mama has never openly condemned Vosh for his possession of these materials, and, from what I understand, discussion of the topic is largely banned on her Discord server.
Because she's done worse. Because she's done worse. She has worse, she's into worse, she's done worse. Take me for example. We have a porn section of our Discord. Thing is, it's mostly shitposting sex-centric. There's no grooming going on in there. It's really people just finding shit, usually from the timeline, and dropping it in there. The only thing that I do not, well, there are several things that I don't allow, but we don't allow the things that are skirting that line where it's very clear a person is trying to get as close as they can to the emulation of the thing that they're into. And then the most obvious things that you should use your brain for, that need not be discussed. I don't need to do something like that. Because she's done worse. That's what leftists do. Obvious, but it bears repeating for the purposes of presentation.
The answer to this quandary isn't deep. Demon Mama simply doesn't mind possession of these sorts of materials.
I know you would throw a fit if I didn't.
This is Pseudo-Fawn, Demon Mama's longtime partner and one of the two notable members of the polyamorous relationship she shares with Doe, another...
Of course it's a fucking polycule. Of course it's a polycule.
Slightly less well-known streamer with some presence in the debate sphere. Fawn began dating Demon Mama, real name Emily Sovis, sometime in June of 2017, according to a tweet posted to Fawn's Twitter in July of 2021. Some general internet sleuthing helped narrow down Sovis's original home to Henrietta, New York, which also let us get the most important bit of information, her actual birth date, which was in October of 1990. That makes Demon Mama currently 33, and, according to Discord messages, Fawn attended the first Salt Lake Comic-Con in 2013 at the age of around 16 to 17, which would make Fawn around 27 to 28 now. These ages aren't immediately important, but they will be soon enough. For the better part of a decade, Fawn has expressed public interest in drawn pictures of children in sexual situations. There are a number of tweets to this effect, but to quote a couple of them, I am extremely out of the loop in the world of pornography, probably because all I care about is trapping shota dojins.
Okay. First off, where's that sound effect? I swear to God, I told myself I was going to make a button for it. But secondly, I have to probably do a little bit of defense here. Trap and Shota dojins aren't even the beginning of how bad CSAM can get. More than likely, if all they do is consume Japanese drawn porn from artists, I probably wouldn't care. Because you get laughed out of fucking police room. What I am interested in is their age and the people they were getting involved with at that convention. Because for them to go from what they did and what they became and where they are now implores some type of sexual tourism. As well as low-key, high-key grooming. We don't know how much because we need messages for that. Perhaps he has them. Fuck me running, of course. Reset the clock!
Shota is Japanese drawn pornography of prepubescent boys in sexual situations. Also, yo, can anyone hook me up with about 4,000 drawings of traps, Shotas, and new halves where I can crop solely to the face? Thanks in advance. Understanding the ages of the individuals involved and the context of what led them to this point is important in understanding the actual gravity of the situation when we get to the interview portion of this video and hear from a person who was victimized by these two individuals and who would have been around 13 years old when he started talking to Demon Mama in 2016. We'll get to that shortly, but to clear any confusion, Doe expressed interest in such materials and was still sharing and even making them as recently as this year. Sharing their art depicting extremely young-looking animals and their own childish avatar creature on furry fetish website E621. They are categorized as children in the tags. If you are a remotely normal person, you will hear the things that I'm saying and probably think to yourself, what on earth is going on with these people? I asked the same question and a very, very curious thing happened. A lot of people from Demon Mama's community and the larger Vosh orbiter space seemed extremely concerned about everything regarding the way I talked about her bizarre behavior, except the fact...
In my view, this is moral grandstanding, guilt by association. I don't believe this is a genuine effort to be truthful. It's just looking for shit to attack people over, and while people can have moral stances on all the particulars, it doesn't change the fact of what this larger strategy is. So mudslinging. You're describing mudslinging. Raking mud is cleaning equals good. Throwing mud is mean equals dirty equals bad. Very interesting that that's what you guys are capable of doing, despite the fact the majority of all your channels are literally platformed and make their money off of mudslinging. Against other people, against your rivals, against each other. All of you are just dirty little piggies. Just dirty little pygmies rolling around in the mud. You love being little dirty pygmies rolling around in the mud. You love being dirty. Yo, yes sir, indeed. You love being nasty. You love being disgusting. You incentivize on it. You make careers out of it. You bought houses off of it. Started families off of it. Grifting in high positions of social office. Even if it's creating a Discord that then becomes the hub of where other people go to have the chance to have a platform, should they pass the good graces, to actively holding political office over it. Or, as we've learned from Progressive Victory, the ability to pay other people to push your propaganda using it. But all of a sudden, yet again, shit comes to light. Now, this is, no. All of our tactics being used on us, no. No. You can't do that. No. Why do you care so? Why are you interested? Why do you care? Sing it from the high heavens. You guys have a fear of being perceived. You have a fear of being perceived.
Fact that her partner of over half a decade likes polishing the carrot to drawn pictures of children in sexual situations. These include names of people like Somniostatic and Gay Fesh, who are often seen in Vosh's chat giving donos and outside of Vosh's chat doing whisper campaigns and trying, sometimes successfully, to get people's social media accounts shut down. But they can't all know each other, right? Well, here they are in Demon Mama's stream at the same time during a reveal of her persona. Posadas John, another consistent Vosh pay pig, is also there. And they all know the porno artist who drew Demon Mama's persona, creature thing. And I find that strange.
You have done me psychic damage. Peter, Tyler, you have done me psychic damage, and I will never forget what you've done this day. I did not need to see that. How dare you? You bastard.
It's hard for people to articulate these ideas in this space because there's something of a cult of personality around Demon Mama.
They're all cults of personality. What you mean? They do shame on the theme song.
Vosh and the other individuals mentioned. A cult that I believe threatens, coerces, and blackmails other creators into obedience. And it's
yes! That's the modus operandi, yes!
It sounded much more far-fetched, even to me, when I was just sharing my thoughts about it on stream.
How would it sound far-fetched? They do it publicly. The purity spiral is the only thing that's consistent about them, outside of their consistent hypocrisy. If they didn't have double standards, they have no standards whatsoever.
But you know who didn't think it sounded far-fetched? The person I'm going to introduce you to right now. All right. So go ahead, introduce yourself, and then we can just hop into the timeline of stuff.
Okay. I am Glooby. I was a thumbnail artist for Demon Mama, and I've known her for about 8 years. I would consider myself, or I did consider myself, a close friend of hers for a good amount of time. I suppose I should just get into the timeline then. I met Demon Mama, as she's mentioned on stream a couple times, on Overwatch in 2016, late 2016 at the latest. I was 13, 14 at the time, and our relationship just started off like friendly, and we played games together. I eventually was introduced to her partners, and we played as well. And
can I ask you a little bit about those? So how did you first meet for real? Like, oh, so what, you said you were playing a game. What game were you playing? And how old were you at the time?
Overwatch. It was either Overwatch or some single player game that has a multiplayer feature. Hard call. Lock in.
So I was 13 or maybe 14 at the time. I think 13, because it would have been, if I remember correctly, it was on Overwatch on a King's Row match.
Woo! Woo!
It wouldn't have been during any of the holiday stuff, so it wouldn't have been like decorated towards it. So it would have probably been summer of 2016. So I would have been 16 or not 16, sorry, 13 at the time. I met her. She was in voice call and in the like match lobby, and people were like giving her shit for like talking. I'm guessing
giving her shit while talking while trans as an adult.
I'm assuming is because she's a trans woman and just people being bigoted and shitty. And I was like a goober.
Playing an online video game hosted by Blizzard Games? Nah, not possible.
For little kids, so I was like, fuck those people if you want.
Excuse me. We were little kids? We were little kids. You were a little kid. They were probably in their late, if not mid-20s.
We could go play. We were doing well, yada yada, and we ended up grouping up together after that game and just continued playing throughout the night. And then we added each other on Discord. I don't know if it was that day or.
And that just goes to show you, adults, every groom begins with Overwatch. Every groom begins with gay. Your kids are in danger in the fray. They need to play some COD today, so your kids don't get groomed gay.
after a bit, but I know we played for a good bit, and then that's how we started talking online and all that.
And
think-
I think I'm aware that Demon Mama's age is she was born in 1990, I believe, so she would be about 26 in 2016.
Correct! By all means, play a video game online while being an older adult. But don't bring a fucking teenager into the fold and then have them start working for you like that shit was normal.
I did not know that was her age. Good to know, actually.
Ah!
So that actually helps me a lot, timeline-wise here.
Why does that help you a lot, timeline-wise? Excuse me. I wonder why that helps you, timeline-wise. Now, you can't dig in on it, because ultimately, at the end of the day, the consequence is... Now, ultimately, how could he know? I'd argue, how could you not? But how could he know? How could he know, chat?
So that will give me... Oh, that makes that worse.
Yeah.
Knowing that.
Sorry. I went through. I endeavored to find necessary information because it's obviously quite relevant to this. Knowing that the individual would be 13 years older than 13 and they're 26 is a substantial difference. But you guys hopped into the Discord and started talking immediately off and on. Did you join her Discord or did you just friend each other?
There was, I think, a server that I was, I forget. I know there was a couple people in it that she still has around. I know Fawn was in it, a partner at the time that she had, that she's not dating anymore. Some other folk that were just chill. What's it called? I know at first it was just DMs, and then I was invited into a server where we would
Literal grooming, step by step.
go into VC, and it was either a server or a private DM call, or like one of the group ones. I can't remember specifically, but I think it was a server because it had VCs and text chats.
Mm-hmm.
I think.
And what did you guys talk about, and what was the nature of the server?
It was pretty casual. I know there was an art section, so it might have, yeah, it definitely, okay, so it was probably a server then if it had an art section. And I know Fawn posted her stuff there, and I posted my stuff there. If it wasn't a server, then it was definitely in DMs or a private chat with all of us in it, because I remember us talking about the different art and Demon Mama being there and Fawn being there and some other folk being there. I don't want to name them. If I do name these people, I don't want them to like get thrown through the gutter for this because they were just there.
But they will, because that's how they operate. They're going to castigate anyone that you name. And that's not your fault. You're the victim here. And yet, even as you're the victim here, you're thinking of the people that are in danger when you have no reason to. And if that does not highlight the level at which it goes, I don't know what does, bro. I don't know what. It's some shit to be assured. It's some shit to be assured.
Primary focus on individuals that would have been around Demon Mama at the time or on people that are still around her now.
Okay.
So Demon Mama, Fawn, notable figures in her community like Gay Fesh and the like. Any of those individuals, I would like for you to bring up if it's okay with you. But anybody who's a sort of like a private citizen and has since departed, there's absolutely no reason to bring them up.
Then in that case, I won't bring them. Just yeah. Okay. So at that point, it was casual, and I know I was sharing art. I don't know if it was not safe for work in nature at the time, but I know I was just sharing general art that I made in the chat, and Fawn was sharing the stuff that she made, and it was mostly not safe for work in nature. Some of it wasn't. Around then, I would say that's when like the sharing of it became like it started with Fawn. I know
The sharing of pornographic material with a minor.
Demon Mama did share some of the stuff that like she didn't draw. I know she doesn't draw, but I know she did share some of the stuff that she was into as well in the art chats.
Can I? This is going to be a little gross. You're already familiar with this stuff, but can I describe some of these images, and you can confirm that these are the ones that you sent me, that she sent you earlier?
Yes, go for it.
So one of them is this is from Pseudophon on July 28th, 2020. It's like the back end reproductive organs of a horse with a tail.
Oh, the atomically accurate horse.
Yeah.
Yeah, that I remember when I saw that the first time. I was shocked. I was like, oh, this is this is a bit much even
Freaky ass niggas, there's some 69 gods.
for what I expected Fawn to be into. And at this point, well, I guess we'll get to that in the timeline. But at this point, I thought I guess technically even I didn't follow it at the time as a minor. The now sharing of the not safe for work stuff while they moved to wherever they moved to.
Yeah.
So at that point, I'm gonna be honest, getting sent atomically accurate horse pussy out of nowhere was kind of like, oh, I don't want to talk to this person very much. And there was a general, I think I might actually have it in the DMs. There was kind of a gap before I talked to them again because it did make me uncomfortable at the time, and I won't lie about that.
I say again, I say to you now, I say to you now, and with all the obvious point to it. Motherfucking fairies! I look forward to the Crocker edits.
Yeah.
See if I can find that.
There's another one. You might be a little bit backward. The gap seems to be between Pseudophon in that same year, but April of 2020, sending you a picture of an erect penis with I'm assuming that's her like avatar or something.
Was it her erect penis? This is a very serious question.
Hanging off the side of it.
Yeah, I am not sure what that is. That one, yeah, I was confused as well about that one, but I kind of just was like, yeah, and then moved on because I really didn't want to acknowledge it, I guess.
And these people were pretty aware of your age. I mean, you said you were in voice chat. Obviously, if you're under, even 16 years old, you're probably, as they say, a squeaker.
Yeah, it's interesting you mentioned that because it was told to me more than one time that I acted older and everything for my age by these people. So
You're so mature for your age. Here's a picture of the kind of cock I wish I had. Dun, 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 dun. Dun, 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 dun.
It's funny in a fucked up sense, and it's not funny. I'm coping horribly right now.
No, it's completely fine. Did you think that was a major highlight of your relationship with these individuals while you were in the server with them, that you were notable for your youth and for sort of, your kind of permissibility with sharing these fairly explicitly sexual images?
Don't say it like that.
Like, they acknowledged it, but it didn't really change anything, I guess. Like, I kind of was just another one of the people in there, despite my age. And I guess I can get into this part of the timeline then, the video call incident.
Please.
Video call incident. Don't tell me they whip it out on camera.
I think we were playing games at first, but it ended up being either we were playing games or drawing or hanging out or something. So I know Demon Mama and Fawn were in the call, and Fawn turned on her camera, and I look over, and she's flashing dildos on her screen and laughing. And what's it called? Demon Mama did, I will mention, Demon Mama did go Fawn, like telling her to stop, but it did not stop Fawn for that to then go into detail and tell me which dildos were joke dildos and ones she actually used.
Jeez. And how old were you at the time?
I would have been at the most 14, 15.
Okay. And were you on video? They were looking at you, you were looking at them, or is it just one?
I might have been on video. I don't think so, though. I don't think I had a webcam at that point.
Gotcha.
Let's assume that you did. Chill!
And you would say that, so very clearly, Demon Mama noticed that something inappropriate was happening. They're fairly aware of your age, and she did not cut the call, even though she could have, you know, and put a stop to that.
Yeah, it could have ended right then and there, but it didn't. The call just got.
How did that make you feel?
Humiliated?
I was really uncomfortable in the moment. I didn't really know what to feel, I guess.
Disgust?
I'm still
Disgust? Anger? Annoyance? Jubilation? Adulation? Because by all requisite accounts of all the people in that fucking call that you were playing with, you defended actual fucking predators! And then got victimized! They were trying to save you. They were trying to save you. Unsung heroes. Unsung heroes.
kind of not really grasping the gravity of what has been going on and what has happened. I'm still very much just, I guess just, I just feel like fucked up about it. Just feel weird.
Just a little fuck you,
really
just a little
not
fucked up, you know?
About all of it. And
would you say that at your age, was this probably one of maybe your first sexual experiences with?
Oh yeah,
person?
I would definitely say so.
And they sort of.
I wish I had a remix thing. I wish I had a fucking billboard table where I could go make it into a normal bounce beat. Jesus fucking Christ. Jesus Christ. Jesus Christ. Jesus Christ.
Made that decision for you.
Yeah, I would definitely agree on that. I did not consent to that at all.
There it is! Lock him up! Lock him up! Lock him up! They break the rules! Lock him up! Consent was breached! Consent was breached! Get him! Lock him up! They violated the rules of the left! Now it's time for the purity spiral to spiral on them! And it has. But it needs to move faster. It's not moving fast enough for me.
Was there more of this sort of horse playing with sexuality, knowing that there was a minor around happening, or was this kind of a one-off, or maybe something that they were testing the waters with? What was your impression?
Honestly, now knowing what Fonz tweeted, I don't know if there was anything malicious going on. I don't want to like imply that
They whipped out their dildos to show you and made you Why are you defending them? I don't know if they were really kind of sort of actually, trying to groom me. But I felt uncomfortable. But, bro, I don't want you to Man alive. Men alive, these people are stepford fucking children. They are stepford wives, and they are goddamn children. They have social destruction of their personal boundaries. I don't know what else to call this. The destruction of their personal boundaries violated over and over and over again. How the fuck do you guys not see the problem? How is this normal to you? This is crazy. This is flabbergasting. Insane.
I feel that way, but it is really weird that she was so open to talk about her kinks and like do that and share her not safe for work. And a lot of the not safe for work she did share with me around that time was like Binding of Isaac characters, and the stuff she still draws is Binding of Isaac characters. And if you know what Binding of Isaac is, it's about like dead babies.
Yeah.
That's not exactly accurate. It is, I forget the creator's name at the moment right now, but it's more like a series of allegorical stories. It's telling the timeline events of Isaac, his mother, and his father, and how his mother and his father... Who the fuck sent me this? Oh my god, I need to make sure I start putting myself on those lists that stop them from sending me political ad campaign texts. But that puts them in a context where across all of the patches and all of the releases and DLCs over the year for the Binding of Isaac Rebirth Edition, all the way from Rebirth to Afterbirth to Repentance, and then also including a game that acts as a prequel featuring the Legend of Bumbo, because Bumbo want coin, that it's the story of how Isaac's family is torn apart because of his father's vices and his mother's evangelical spiraling into fanaticism. And just like the actual biblical retelling of the foible of the Binding of Isaac, that Isaac believed through the same religious dogma that his mother pushed upon him, believing that he was sinning because he was missing his dad, that it leads to the story of how a young boy suffocates to death in a chest, and using the power of imagination that his dad gave to him trying to figure out what is happening to him, why it's happening to him, and ultimately, just like the actual opening screen asks you when you choose your character that has the perks for the run, like any other fucking roguelike that isn't a roguelike deck builder, who am I? That's what the Binding of Isaac is. However, the point that he's trying to make is that all of the characters, with the exception of the ones that are very obviously demons or angels, or literally the concept of rebirth in the form of Eden, a character that you can only be able to play if you complete a run and receive Eden coins, which act as the lives, or rather the attempts that you can use for his run, because all of his perks are always cycled and different on every run, that you are basically a kid. And if they're showing porn of Binding of Isaac characters, and it's the ones that are very clearly humans, basically they're jerking it to kids. I say again, dun, 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 and again, jail. I need to go to the bathroom. Be right back. Talk amongst yourselves. And while I leave you here, please enjoy the dulcet tones of what can only be understood as my music list. Wrong button. Thank you, enjoy. This one. And this one.
When you come to a single-player Carl stream, you don't expect this man to make fucking sense. This man is completely fucking ignorant. Insane. Crazy. One could say that somebody let an insane asylum victim out and just simply start talking on the microphone. But you stay anyways. But you stay anyways. Why? Because you are enter-fucking-tained. There's not a single moment where you don't feel something that might be finger-licking good. Just don't let him find out what your mama's first name is. He will try to fuck her. Single-player Carl's, home of the nappiest. This motherfucker crazy.
Are you waking up in the morning exhausted, tired, realizing that you serve zero purpose and should literally kill yourself right now? Do you go to the fridge while doom scrolling on social media, wondering what you're going to do with yourself? Do you feel that there's just something missing in your life to bring the joy and spark that you used to have back when you were younger? Now introducing Smart Brand Sloppy Toppy. Our specially trained service associates specialize in goth girl, alternative rock, Dommy Mommy, and Ubu Soft Girl, and have been trained in the techniques of Gok Gok 9000, the Salt Shaker Poppy Toppy, and the Gok Gok Gulp Gulp, and will suck you drier than the tombs of Asmakut. Smart Brand Sloppy Toppy. We'll get that nut out of you.
You're listening to 148.8 The Cool. And now a word from one of our sponsors. Say, are you tired of having a dinner that is lacking flavor and makes your husband look at you funny? Are you looking for some kind of dinner that is able to serve up a good sense of jazz at the table? Take from me, James Bartholomew Crow, my friends call me Jim, and have our regular spice jambalaya, red beans, and rice. Plus, more flavor than the levies. If you want to be able to jazz up your table, choose Jim Crow's tonight.
Sponsors for Single Player Carl and Radio Coon are provided by BBC Migraine Powder, Jib and Toby's Ethnic Enrichment Playground, Cringe on Demand, Blockbuster Entertainment, Uncle Tony's Piety, Smart Negro Brand Colonized Navy Skating App, Immemorial Malt Liquor, and PointDexter.com, and the generous donations and watch times from viewers and haters like you. Thank you! And if you'd like to support Carl, consider leaving a wonderful donation at Ko-fi.com, Subscribestar.com, YouTube.com, and Twitch.com/SinglePlayerCarl. Make sure to support your victory today, or you hate black people.
I cannot answer that question unless I know which one you're asking about. 4 commercials just played while I was away. You'd have to tell me which one. The first, the second, the third, or the fourth. The last one that I just stopped being the fourth. Does she actually look like that? Yes, she does, Saffronet. As for the majority of them, Popeye's KFC commercial, the opening loading screen of pre-Big Bang, and maybe even current Big Bang MapleStory on the GMS and KMS servers. I don't remember the name of it, but it is one of the many historical recordings of the Charleston, which of course is a vaudeville, Louisiana waterfront dance. And then of course finally the Arthur theme. Does that answer your question, Lucas? The soundtrack I keep playing on a soundboard. That's from Sonic Spinball. That's the danger sound. Rather than blowing out your eardrums, I'm relying on that sound effect to distress the points that when you hear something, you should be panicked by what you hear. No, but I'm not stamping periods on the end of the sentence to underline the severity of it. Okay, you're welcome.
Kids?
Children.
Yeah.
When did you find out about Fawn's Twitter and her sort of predilection towards being very open with a sexual attraction towards minors?
When you made your stream about it, actually. I didn't know
really?
Those tweets existed.
Oh, okay.
I knew I followed her on Twitter, but like after a while when I made a Twitter, but I didn't know those ones existed, and when I realized it matched up.
Nobody. Baby dick is a kind of endearing term, to be honest. Cute little ones deserve love too. Where's my soundboard? I probably have to be in my room. Like, I need to probably be in my live room to have the soundboard.
Who the fuck let this kid in the kitchen? Do not let him cook again.
Fucking.
Around the time that I met her and started talking to her and interacted with her, it made me really uncomfortable knowing that she was sending me all that stuff. And
I'm just gonna have sex with this year-old non-human with demon-looking things coming out of her back. Bumble or Bumble? Probably Bumble Cloud.
Which bumble clot dog I am? Cause this morning I wake up good enough. Give me a good blood clot dog. What kind of little bumble clot dog this I'ma give? He can't even bark louder blood clot. He can't even defend me. Which bumble clot?
And more importantly. That didn't was the sound effect I was looking for. Anyways. Fuck it. Chipper, where's Chippy when you need him?
and talking about all that stuff while actively jerking it to Shotokan.
Mm-hmm. I don't want to press you too much more on that, but do you think that there's a direct relationship between their, maybe not necessarily Demon Mama as well, but certainly Fawn, their relationship with you and these tweets that they were making? Do you think that there's possibly a direct connection? Because they're almost doing this exactly the same time.
I really don't want to believe that. I really don't want to think that.
Why do you not want to believe it and think about it? I'm gonna let you finish, but why don't you want to believe it and think about it? Why don't you want to believe and think about it?
She did that and thought like that, but there is a chance, and I really don't like that there is a chance that that's a possibility. I don't want to. I mentally don't want to entertain that because I've known her and talked to her and like have heard like sad fucked up shit from her, and her like we've had one-to-one conversations about our existences and all of the fucked up shit in our lives.
Oh, that's great. Why are you making justifications for a pedophile? Why are you defending a pedophile? She's a pedophile. Why are you defending a pedophile? I thought does the left like pedophiles? Does the left cape for the pets? Yes, they do. Bumbleclot!
Et cetera, et cetera.
Mm-hmm.
But like, I guess because I viewed her as a friend in quotations because of our very fucked up relationship. It hurts me to know that that's a chance, and
This
that's
is
a very real possibility.
This is something I've heard a few times from people that are leaving Demon Mama's community or even connected to it, that they maybe witnessed something inappropriate, had an inappropriate experience, maybe felt some uncomfortable feelings, and the sort of trauma relationships that were built between people and the sort of friendship that they didn't want to lose was something that they felt they had to put ahead of maybe, you know, talking about how uncomfortable they were or talking about maybe ending a certain kind of behavior. Do you feel that that might have influenced decisions on your part to say like, hey, don't ever do that again, or I'm very weirded out by this, or anything like that?
I would definitely say so. I think that's probably why it took until hearing all of that stuff and seeing a friend of mine come on your stream, and shout out to Triptych for talking about the Demon Mama stuff, because I didn't know they left, and I knew they were in the middle of the shitstorm that was the Demon Mama mod team and that whole community being the fucking mess that it was. And it was a mess when I moderated it, and I can't even imagine how bad it was now with how culty it got in there.
it is. I'm going to get to that and some of your work history here in a second. I think I just have one immediate question, and then we could finish up the timeline. There's just one other screenshot you sent me. I'm going to read it to you, and then I just want to get some of your impressions on it. You guys were talking about some other stuff. It might feed his ego, but it's really funny. This is from July 8th, 2021, about a month or a year after some of those previous ones. You wrote, it'll feed the horny minds, including mine. By the way, if you're worried about NSFW stuff, I'm 18, so we vibing, guys. And Demon Mama said, I'm not anymore, smiley face. You've always been respectful about that. That's a very...
Oh, fuck me. So the problem here is that this emoticon is basically an emoticon of Fern from Demon Time. Excuse me, Demon Time. Adventure Time on Demon Time. It'll feed the horny minds. And mine!
Very curious thing for an adult to say.
Oh, lovely. Oh, we're getting into this. Oh, yeah. Okay, so when I forget when this happened, but I was probably, I think, maybe 15, 16. Whenever she moved to Seattle or Washington or wherever the hell she is, I was told not to send Not Safe for Work to her anymore because the state and wherever she was moving to, that would be a huge no-no.
But not because you were legal minor.
Yeah, no. Before that point, it was free game.
And so, were these things that she not just welcomed but like asked for? Was there any aspect of like ordering, so to say?
I wouldn't say that. It was very like just casual. Like I was just one of the what's it called? One of the boys. Just
one of the young boys. That's one of the young boys.
The stuff we like, and just kept going until that point, and it did stop for a good bit. I think it stopped for a good bit on my old account, because I remember her being very like thankful about it at least once, and for the screenshot that I sent you. But I guess that didn't last very long.
And if we, I have another one up here. I think this maybe you sent a picture of buttholes to Demon Mama, and this is November 27th, 2019. So of course, it's called Draw Pile. It's supposed to get wild. How are you? Good dude. Drawing buttholes for the first time. She says good anatomy practice. And then you guys kind of start a conversation. So this is you've sent pornography to an adult who is at least,
I was like 16 or 17 at that point. I would have been 17.
Which we did. So she's going to be about 29, 30 years old.
Dun, 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 dun. They not like us. They not like us. They not like us. Dun, 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 dun. They not like us. They not like us. They're not like us, motherfuck.
There's no judgments to you. I think that if
no little judgment. I have a lot of judgment. I got a lot. How do you not have self-preservation instincts? You had the ability to stop this shit in the bud, but you kept it going because they poured their hearts on me and they poured their hearts out to me in a personal. No! They groomed you. They groomed you. They groomed you. They groomed you, bro. Bro, they groomed you. And you're protecting them. Even as you're exposing them. You're protecting them. Do not give them the benefit of the doubt. Because they would never give it to others. You should be horrified by the level of power difference and abuse they used on you. All of these things are not okay. And you're still protecting them. Sad.
ever sent me a not safe for work drawing. I would probably just say don't do that anymore. But this was a pattern of stuff. How does it make you feel, now that you're a bit older, somebody with that kind of age difference exchanging, kind of freewheel exchanging pornographic material with a minor?
It really fucks me up now. Because, like, if I was in that, I'm thinking, like, of myself if I was in that position now as an adult, like, talking to, like, a minor, that's fucking gross.
Yeah.
That fucks me up bad. Like, I don't know what the thought process that makes this okay is.
It was progressive. That's what made it okay. It was progressive trans lesbians just helping you express yourself sexually with furry degeneracy.
But I can't find it in my noggin. It just should be no. And the fact that I broke the rule that she set, and the fact that she was just fine with it and didn't reprimand me or anything, that is rather telling.
Well, I think also there being a rule that
is also telling.
Yeah, it's sort of establishing the nature of that interaction seems, that in my mind, I'm going to use this word. You don't have to agree with me, but this does strike me as being at least a touch predatory. I don't know if you agree
A
with
touch?
it or not, but
He's lucky they didn't touch him.
I will a little agree on that one. It is a little fucky.
A little fucky. A little fucky.
Conversation away from this, at least for a little bit. If you want to return to it later, that's absolutely okay. But it's actually even, it's a bit much even for me. I have to assume it's probably a little bit for you.
Yeah, it is a lot.
Moving into the Demon Mama community, which you ended up being integrated into and eventually working for by your own statements to me, you started drawing thumbnails for her. And also acting as a moderator. Can you tell me how that relationship evolved to that point?
I was brought on as a mod really, really early on, as I think just because I was a friend of hers and she needed mods. And
Did I ask a bit of at a time point?
When did she start her channel? Probably, I would probably say just start of her channel. I don't know the exact date, but like really extremely early on.
It's like a 2016, 2017-ish. I think I'm supposing. Sorry. If you want to look it up, feel free.
Yeah, I will look it up. 4 years ago. Let's see. So 2020. So about I would say about mid 2020.
Okay.
Like late 2020, I started modding for her and being active in her community.
Gotcha.
And on the mod end, it's interesting. The moment that a bunch of like the political frogs all really swarmed in from all the lefty side, in quotations, the mod team kind of had its first implosion. The head mod at the time and thumbnail artist Gina kind of had a meltdown, and it was a couple things leading up to it, but the entire, I forget if she was going to delete something important or start banning mods at random because she had the power to, but we had a full lockdown of the mod chat, and we had to cycle out the thumbnail artist, the head mod, and I think we had to do like a big old talk with all of the mods, and that was like barely when she was like a 1K, 2K subscriber. Like she was really small at the time, so it was already kind of a mess at that point.
Were a lot of these people carryovers from the previous Discord you were in?
A couple of them were actually.
A Mao.
I don't think they stayed for very long. I don't think. I met Gayfesh as a mod in Demon Mama's community, so he wasn't in there. Who was? All the people that I can think of have either disassociated from Demon Mama entirely, or have just kind of faded out. into non-existence from doing whatever they're doing. So,
Which is nothing.
as far as I can remember, I think most of the new mods that were there were either friends of hers or just new people that came in from the community that she trusted eventually.
Mm-hmm. And that seems like it's pretty common that she keeps her friends close. It's a very tight circle.
Yeah, I would say so. God, what is it? I forget if there was. I know there was constant fighting in the mod chat. It seems pretty standard for lefty political things, but there was a lot of bickering and like arguing over just nonsense constantly with the mods. And there was more than a few times that the new head mod that we had, and I think even DemonMama had a couple times had to go in and argue with some of the people that she had and drop some of the people that she had going. Oh God, actually, there's an entire what's it called thing here. I forgot about. I might have to inform you about that at another time.
It's all good.
That's something to get into potentially. But for this, sorry, I'm drawing a blank really bad right now.
No, it's okay. I sort of took you off the road. I was just giving you room to speak. We were going over the timeline, and right around 2020, I think it is, when the start of her channel, you became a mod. You started doing moderator activities. I'm going to assume standard message removal, bans, approvals, that kind of stuff, and making thumbnails, because DemonMama was aware of the fact that you were an artist for reasons.
For reasons.
So when I started doing thumbnails, actually, not only did I do the thumbnails, her Drama Mama section, I did the animated intro for that as well.
So you just monetized the fuck out of you.
Funny story about that one. And this one pisses me off.
Ain't that crazy?
As an artist.
Ain't that crazy?
I made that in like 6 hours because she wanted it done before her next stream. So it looked like ass, and like it's okay. It's an animation, yada yada. It works for her stream or whatever. But I went back and took like multiple weeks out of my time while sick to make it better and nicer, and I sent it to the editing team at the time, and it was never used.
And,
so that, on a personal note, that pisses me off.
Sorry. To clarify, by sick, this is right around the time that, or after the time that you contracted Lyme disease, which is something you're still living with now and is fairly serious. June of, honestly, it would have been at the end of that year because of COVID. Yeah, at the end of that year, I got COVID, and it triggered the Lyme disease that I had dormant in my body since I was a little kid. And just a brief overview of my Lyme and all that. It causes me seizures, immense chronic body pain. I contracted SIBO, which is a small bacterial overgrowth, and I've vomited 185 pounds out of my body in the past year and a half. That's
from that.
Pretty terrible. On top of the unfortunate revelation from my shit posting on YouTube.
So that's fun. But during that time, it was just the seizures. And actually, no, the vomiting was also a factor during the later end of the work relationship. So I can get into that when that's timeline-wise applicable. For the timeline stuff, DemonMama's thumbnail thing, I was only meant to do thumbnails. That's what I signed up for. That's what I was told I was going to do. I quickly learned that wasn't the case. I would be managing all of her titles, doing all the tagging for the video, making sure they get out on time. I even made all of the categories for her videos because she didn't have any, and I thought it would be useful.
So you're essentially running the channel. You had a login to her channel.
Yeah, I had a login. I had a full access to everything.
Which
it's always so weird that the leftists give each other full access to everything. And then talk about censorious overreaching of business and enterprise. All of them are dirty little fucking capitalists while being communists. It's crazy. And yet, when it comes time to sharing that revenue, all of a sudden, it's my profits, not our profits.
For the record, none of my editors have on my channel. That's an extremely large amount of responsibility for someone who was at the time. You were just 18, I think.
In 2020, I would have been like 16, 17.
16, 17 then. So you're a legal minor with running a YouTube channel for someone that's 13 years older than you, pushing into the being 30, if not into their 30s, and not getting a lot for it. Did you guys agree on a compensation schedule of some sort, or was this just, hey, we're friends, and because we're friends, you're gonna do friend stuff, and maybe if we don't get it done, we're not.
Is an insidious sentence. That's an insidious sentence. Friend stuff, because we're friendly. Fucking flashbacks to Yu-Gi-Oh! Bridge. That's horrible. That's horrible. That's horrible. However, it's horrible.
Be friends anymore.
We did have a payment system set up. I forget if it was. I think it was like once. Whenever YouTube, the payment went out, she would send out her pay for all of her team or whatever. I think it was once a month. On I think the 15th, whenever YouTube does its whatever payout, and she would.
It's more like 15th to the 26th of every month.
Collect all her funds and send it out.
Because you gotta remember, that's YouTube, that's Discord payment systems, that's private DMs and donations, that's any other payment structures, as well as PayPal, which is usually the ones most people use to collect Twitch, as well as everything else.
I could see the YouTube payout. I didn't know how much the Twitch was, but I know the Twitch was more because she talked about it a couple times, and I knew for a fact I could do math. I knew at least at the start. Okay, how do I preface this? At the start, it wasn't good pay, but it was understandable given her channel size, and I can understand paying bills, etc., etc. But
would you say it's something fair, and maybe you expected that?
Nick, why did you cut him off? Let him fucking get in.
It would increase as the channel that you were putting your labor in got bigger. Okay.
Yeah, and as the labor increase grew on my end with doing the tags and titles and making sure they went out every other day. At this point, this is when I got like sick, like with Lyme. So I was like I was being pumped full of antibiotics and being horribly ill every day. And I would have to wake up I remember at 10:30 and just fucking hope and pray that I could figure out a thumbnail and title in 30 minutes so I can go back to bed and be horribly sick and sleep all day again.
And to kind of hammer it home, you're still a minor at the time. Were you in school as well?
Yeah. This one's a little hard to explain. I guess I was bullied out of high school and then did online school for a bit and speed run through that, and I was essentially in college at 16.
Okay.
So that's what I did. It is an interesting mess.
If you went through some bullying like that, did you think when you were going through that and then having to leave school, did you feel like alone and isolated? And did you ever share that with Demon Mama and her sort of circle?
Oh yeah, they knew about what happened to me with those people. Those the people that did all the fucked up shit to me, like tried to get into her community, and Demon Mama like banned them per my request. And like I told her all what happened to me with those people. Like she knows all of it.
And you're safe now, hopefully.
Yeah, I'm safe now. Like I'm all good now.
But you were working for her and putting this entire YouTube thing together for anyone listening to this, if I don't end up cutting this chunk out. When I do my own uploads and write my titles in, it takes me about anywhere from 5 to 10-ish total minutes of doing a bunch of different little things. Was that about the amount of time it probably took you per video just for the upload stuff? Not to say anything less of you did all of the thumbnails and whatnot as well, correct?
Yeah. The hardest part for me were always the titles, because I'm not a very good written person. I'm a visual person. That's how I struggle with my words enough as it is. So having to come up with titles for videos I have no information about. And I'd preface this as well. I never got any information about any of the videos that I was thumbnailing. Every single thumbnail I made for the most part was me just guessing what the hell was going on in those videos. And like skipping through it a little bit.
I respect
Just like everybody else has to watch the fucking YouTube video.
that. I am good with words. It's like one of my things, and titles are nightmarishly difficult for me as well. It's usually what takes me the longest. Obviously, typing them in, not big, but trying to figure out a way to sell it in 100 words or less, or 100 characters or less, it can be a bit daunting. Especially if you actually, I was in the video. If you didn't watch it, obviously that's going to be a lot harder. And if you had to guess, what was your like overly monthly compensation sort of? If you had to guess how many hours and how much money you made, what would you say those figures were?
If I remember correctly, I would do 20 to 30 thumbnails and like all the titles and all that yada yada, and I would get at the start it was about like 200 to 250, but by the end of the year it went down to like $80.
That's crazy.
If I remember correctly.
That's crazy.
That was
with no work slowdown on your part.
Yeah, no work slowdown on my part.
But guys, you gotta distribute the money. The distribution of the means. The distribution of the memes, guys. Distribution of all of the porn directly to their bank account, directly to the files and folders, and distribution of that ass, and trickles.
Gotcha. And this is how many videos? I think you said you were doing 33 to 66 or some odd. I might be inflating those numbers.
A month, it would have been about like 20 to 30.
Okay.
But like overall, it would have been, I don't even know how many at this point.
So, with that in mind, obviously you watched my stream on, I was a little bit irate with Demon Mama holding on to information about another creator being abusive to people doing essentially the exact same work that you were doing. Did you find it maybe a touch hypocritical that she would...
I found it so fucking ironic for so long. It's been a joke in my fucking friend group that whenever she brings up AI art and like how to treat artists, and it's like, oh, what about Glooby?
If you had to guess, I've seen your you guys had a friend put together a spreadsheet here with, I'm assuming, I think it's the last like 3-ish months of work. How much do you think you've probably been jilted or shorted here?
Overall, probably, I don't even know, hundreds. That brings me to my favorite part about the work thing. Was she told me that financially, I think when I sent the spreadsheet into her thing, and it was like, hey, the pay deficit is like fucked here. I think I have this. I don't know if I sent you the screenshot, but I have a screenshot of her saying that the channel is just not doing well, and struggling and et cetera, et cetera. She is trying her best, yada yada. But then I see a tweet from her at the end of the year saying that she went and got a $5,000 custom tongue split from somebody and flew out and went to her Trippie Redd concert. So in the same...
That's delicious. Just the delicious irony, chat. Look at it. Don't look at it. Look at it. Don't look at it. Just, look at my tongue split. I disenfranchised the victim I abused. I'm gonna go to a concert and use this tongue on my polycule. I'd call it bait if it wasn't live with my screen in front of me, chat. I'd call it bait. I would call it bait. And then I call the cops. I'm not asked to be sexually assaulted like this. I will not forget what you did to me, Tyler.
Token. She was bragging about that on one of her streams. I actually looked it up because you mentioned the tongue split. I guess it's one of her iconic features, and she sort of maybe paid for at least a bit of it by shorting a minor who was working. Well, you might have been over 18 by the time you finally split. I'm sorry, I didn't hammer that specifically home. When did you finally get to a point where you went, I've not been paid in months. I don't think I can continue on with this.
Like, I don't know exact. I think it would have been mid 2021 to late 2021 where I was so sick. I was just like, I physically cannot do this anymore. I think it was a physical issue at that point, because like I know the pay was low and shitty, but I was poor and needed the money anyway, so it's like, fuck it, I needed it. But once my physical was so ass, it just became a matter of, I can't do this anymore. It's not worth even the bit of money I'm getting.
And how receptive was she to your issues about...
Please tell me you have a voice recording. Please tell me you have a voice recording. Please tell me you have a voice recording.
I will say when I did tell her that I was sick, she was like, I understand, we'll try to accommodate. That may have only applied like 3 or 4 times. Whenever if you notice in my thumbnail, like my era of thumbnails, there's ones that aren't like the little character or whatever. Those are the days that I'm so sick I physically cannot do it. Like those are the only days that it's not mine.
So you're like working yourself to the bone for, I'm seeing some of the compensation here is basically like roughly $2.80 a video at the absolute worst, and at the best, in the spreadsheet you shared with me, 22 videos in a month for $260, you have it out at about $11.82 for a thumbnail, doing all of these uploads, writing titles, and basically quite literally turning her content into money, because that's what gets changed over into ad revenue are these videos.
Yeah.
Yeah, you got exploited, bro.
Did you feel...
You should be a lot more angry than you are.
No, sorry.
You should be a lot more angry than you are right now. You should be fucking livid. You should be fucking livid. You should be fucking livid.
Sorry, I was just making noise.
It's all good. Did you feel that there was a true and honest and open line of communication to air your grievances as a basically employee of Demon Mama?
Not really. I felt like I could talk to her, but I feel like and I did, and still kind of do feel like there was always like a wall of just
greed.
It doesn't matter what I say at this point.
So you could always have a nice conversation with her, but criticism would be something that was not met with open arms, so to say. Maybe not necessarily hostility, but you don't...
Yeah, I was I didn't. Negative conversations with her were not something I wanted to have because it felt like when I did bring up the pay, it felt like I was being put, like I was wrong and I should feel bad for it, even though every person I've talked to about it has told me I was wronged and yada yada about it. So it's still confusing for me because I still feel like I'm in the wrong. Like
you're not. This is I can actually step away from journalism for ethically speaking. This is that's wage theft. If you had an agreed upon amount, or if you were being taken advantage of and not being fully paid, you are fully justified in feeling wrong about that. Don't let anyone take that away from you at all,
including yourselves. So stop defending them.
If this was kind of any other community, that would be maybe less of an important issue. But this is all leftism and workers' rights and stuff. And so, I've seen Demon Mama talk, I guess to some degree about that kind of stuff. Obviously, she's adjacent to Vosh and that whole kind of crew. But do you think, as a person that was kind of within those circles, that she practices what she preaches when it comes to, treating workers fairly?
No. I don't think so. It's what makes it more interesting to me is she knew how sick I was. I was very open about like the seizures and the vomiting and all that stuff to her, and she wouldn't check in. She wouldn't, unless like I came running like, hey, I can't upload this, I'm really fucking sick. Maybe I'd get a response sometimes. And if I did, it would be hours later, either from her or from somebody in the editor chat saying being like, yeah, okay, I got it now, and then the video would just sit there for a couple hours because it would just be me.
And
I
you
was
were
the only one there.
Still doing moderator work as well during some of this.
Yes, during the first bit of it. I know I eventually stopped doing mod stuff because it was just too much, and the mods were getting on my nerves and being overwhelming and obnoxious. So I just didn't want to deal with that anymore. So I just stepped aside from that.
And how did you? Because obviously this is not anywhere near enough to approach living on. How were you supporting yourself to live outside of working alongside Demon Mama?
Really trying to get any kind of commission job I could. Mostly living through my family to support my meds and everything like that, because it is expensive to manage Lyme disease and treat it, let alone be in a spot where you're stable. And at that point, I didn't really know what was going on with the Lyme and what meds worked. So it was a constant battle of expensive medicine and trying to find work to support that medicine and feed myself. And I will mention this as well. There were more than a few times I had to ask her for money to buy myself food because I could not afford it.
Money that she should have paid you.
Yeah, should have paid me. That you should have paid me in the first place.
Yeah. So at this time, your support structure is basically your natural family that you have. Did you have friends outside of this, or was it pretty much just kind of like your social circle is this kind of internet crew of people that are in and around Demon Mama?
Yeah, it would have been just the internet people. All of the IRL interaction I had was really shattered off from the bad group of people I interacted with before. Like, I've met some really good people from Demon Mama. I have some really good friends from that place, and I still do. I met my partner there, and it's awful because a part of me is like I don't want to change what happened because I technically I don't owe her anything, but like the interactions that I've had there have led me to the place where I am now with the people that I have now, and I'm thankful for the people I have now, but not for her. She sucks.
Do you think some of your negative feelings tied up around talking about this, about discussing ways that I think it would be hard pressed for me to find a person that would say you weren't wronged, both in the pseudo sexual relationship you had with her circle as a child, and also the very, very exploitative work relationship you had with her? Did you feel even ever feel that that might be taken away from you, or that your negative feelings towards this might be that Demon Mama or people close to her might try to essentially destroy your relationships that you have in retaliation for talking about these things?
I was, and I'm still very actively worried about what this is going to do and what it would have done then, especially then with the people I knew, because like all of my friends then were really into Demon Mama's like whole thing, and we all eventually left for our own reasons because everyone got sick of the treatment there and how things were ran, et cetera, et cetera. But I was worried about how this would affect a lot of things with people that I've known from there. And good to know that everyone that I do talk to from there all has the same consensus about this. Thank God. But yeah, I was worried about how this would affect things with people I knew, and the person I was actually worried about that I didn't know left a year ago at this point was Triptych. They were a big mod in Demon Mama's community. I know they were very outspoken about how they felt, and I'm glad that that continued with the bullshit Demon Mama was and her mods are probably pulling then, and probably why they dipped.
I mean, realistically, inside of leftist circles, people come and people go a lot. The problem that really substantiates here is that Demon Mama has a whisper system, where from the smallest to the biggest, they can get them on a direct line, especially Vosh. So the question, stretch, Carl. The question you have to have is what was happening, what's going on behind that curtain? What was going on behind that curtain? Who was leaving? Why were they leaving? And more importantly, were they leaving because they chose to leave? Or were they leaving because they were told to leave? That's what I want to know. If they chose to leave, then okay. Da, 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 da. But at the same time, if they were told to leave, then this means that the problems are still subsisting, and the issues that need to be seen and discussed are still happening. And if that's the case, oh boy, y'all got problems, y'all got problems, y'all got problems, and they're gonna stack. Because each one of those stories that have yet to be discussed is another example of further abuse that should be uncovered. The ride never ends! The ride never ends! By all means, be upset about the minors. I'm upset about the minors. But it gets worse! Gets worse. Because if this is what we know about, what else don't we know about? So far, we learned about children being abused, children being groomed, children being overworked, children being left out in the cold and thus thrown to the abyss when they were no longer useful, covering up for the grand poobah that enabled them to exist, and the nebulous web of abuse that leads from leftists being leftists. What I haven't heard, much like in the case of Snake Thing or Dr. Fright going to jail, is arrests, reports, warrants, an active investigation by the particular area where Demon Mama lives. Why has that not come to pass? All of this is actually easily admissible. If I were living in her region, I'd start setting up charges. Because all of this is a crime, including the fucking payment system. Beat to her? You can sue her. You should sue her. Sue her! Ugh! No, you want to protect her. You want to defend her. They have done everything to the nines that some people that literally, if they really wanted to, some people could legitimately make the same accusations of me. And yet, no regard for leadership, no regard for accountability, no regard for reduction of harm. None. The only thing that it is, reduction of harms to the self. Pure oppum. Demon Mama cares more about other people's problems affecting them than they do about their problems affecting other people. Fucking, if this is not what we mean when we say this is what you can expect from a leftist, I don't know what else to fucking say, bro. You got this motherfucker struggling like a Stockholm Syndrome victim, justifying why you should be abused by her and her molecule. Fucking shit. Take a walk around the house, stretch my legs, pull out my solar plexus. Just keep moving.
I should say.
Would you say if there's someone else that feels this way, not like everybody has to turn their back on Demon Mama, not be her friend or anything like that. I'm not making that argument. But for anybody that feels scared of walking away from that group because they're going to like lose everything, or they have feelings that are like that they maybe couldn't quite put their hands on. Do you think it's worth it to walk away if you're feeling that way? Do you feel good now that you've got this distance and this clarity on the situation?
I would definitely say so. Especially when I was working for her and my entire existence was essentially her. My friends were all associated with her. My job was her. My day-to-day was drawing her, thinking of things for her thing, yada yada yada. That I would have never have thought to do this. This would have destroyed every single opportunity I had, my source of income, all my friends. At that point I thought I was fucked if I did this.
That's very reasonable.
But now with the people I have and everything like that, it is very scary, and I am actively shaking in my boots. But it was worth it, and I knew it was right when I felt relief telling my partner and then telling you, and knowing that this is out there or going to be, and it's just over. It's giving me like a bit of, I guess, just relief mentally and physically, like a weight is off of my back, I guess, in a sense.
I don't want to push you to making a conclusion, but you described a situation a little while ago that would be pretty crazy. You said you woke up, you were sick, and your friend circle was Demon Mama, and your job was Demon Mama, and you drew her, and you talked about her, and you made things for her. To me, that sounds like almost a religious-y type thing, and I'm not gonna push
like a cult that worships a demon.
But would you say that there's an aspect of cultishness maybe in and around how her circle operates and kind of in what she maybe expects from people that are immediately around her.
Totally. It is such a cult of personality. If it wasn't then when I was there, it is so bad now. Like, oh my God. I can't even imagine how bad it is now. If I was like that then, with all the people, how we all just talked about Demon Mama and oh, her politics are so good. Oh, it's all Demon Mama, all Demon Mama, all Demon Mama. I can't imagine what her chats are like now, where it's even more controlled and more like, what's it called? Withered out all of the non imps, I guess, in this case.
Mm-hmm.
I would definitely say it's very culty there. I haven't been. I've like checked in there once or twice to see like how much stuff has changed, and it just looks very, very one-dimensional in their thinking. I guess is the way I'd put it. It's very Demon Mama oriented.
So what you're telling me is that the majority of leftists like Demon Mama have entire cults of personality that have rotted out every single bit of individual thought, and anything that is in there is just a reflection of the cult that they've already designed for themselves, thus raking in money from people who are sycophantic and are going to demand and look for blood to be spilt wherever possible in a way to supplicate the effect and the desire of the dear leader to continue increasing their monetary gain off the backs of those that are to be victimized? No. That can't be possible. I was told that left is best, and if you're not a leftist, you're fucking evil. That can't be it. No, clearly this interviewer has asked the wrong series of questions, and he has demonstrated himself to be incapable of dealing with the problem. No way. It's not possible. It's not possible. I got a problem.
Basically, literally on that same note, with the nervousness and stuff that you were feeling, have people been trying to reach out to you, or do you feel like there's been any pressure as you've been getting ready to come forward?
Funny you mentioned that. So about an hour ago, or a couple hours ago at this point, when I woke up, I got a friend request from Demon Mama, and I have a message from her on Twitter. I have not read this message. I've read like the first little preview bit of it, and I'm already really not looking forward to this. And I wanted to save that for this. So we're going to do that. Yippee!
Okay.
I'm going to struggle.
I'm ready when you are. If you would like to read it now, or if you want to continue the conversation before we do it, either's fine with me.
Sure. I guess because it matches with that a bit. I should do that now. Oh God, what is this? Okay. Hey Glooby, I wanted to ask you something. I was informed by a friend that they saw you posting a thread about following the Discord of a guy who's become dangerously obsessed with myself and my family and my friends, and I assumed it was someone impersonating you, and you'd recently messaged me and we talked in a bit, very friendly. Hell, your on here last messages were helping you get that GoFundMe going. And I want to mention this GoFundMe thing. So I almost went homeless one time, and I messaged her.
The meme, of course. Yes, of course.
That hey, I'm gonna go fucking homeless. I need like help. If you can send this out there in some capacity. She was like, yeah, sure. 4 or 5 days later, I get a retweet from her on it.
Nice.
That was her grand help, which that upset me for multiple reasons. One, because I've known her for so long. Two, I've seen her like do entire charity streams for other people. But God forbid, a close friend.
Yeah.
So I know it's like it's just upsetting that was what I got from somebody I apparently helped so much, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera.
Oh, is it upsetting? Is it upsetting that you do a lot and you didn't even get the fake air of care, responsibility, concern, doing everything and anything that you did for them? And yeah, I bet that's upsetting. Let that be a lesson to you. Let that be a lesson to you. Learn a hard lesson now, so you never have to learn that lesson again. Let that be a lesson.
Okay. So the rest of this. I assumed it was someone impersonating you and recently messaged me and been friendly, go find me. When I went to message you, you had blocked me on Discord. I figured I would send a message on here. What, if anything, is going on? Westside Tyler is a dangerous person who recently threatened to dox and injure or kill a friend of mine and a former artistic collaborator of yours. I don't know what's going on. Please be careful in engaging with him. I truly hope you're not going to help someone so unhinged and violent to try to hurt my partner and me. That would truly hurt me to my soul. I'm hoping this is simply some kind of misunderstanding, hoping to hear back from you.
Dangerous individual seeking to harm me. How is he harming you? Oh, he's gonna expose some information that I don't want people to know about. He's harming me! He's harming me! You can't work with him. He's evil. Evil! Evil! Evil, 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 evil.
And this is the first time you're reading that. How does that make you feel?
My partner and I had 3 bets. Either I was going to be guilted, or I was going to be yelled at, or I was going to be told that you were insane.
Got 2 out of 3, right?
Yep. Fuck. That's a message and a half. Holy shit. Yeah, I don't believe anything she's saying here. Gayfish is a cry bully. He whines constantly about people and then removes them, or tries to get them banned on their socials or whatever, and then wonders why actions have repercussions. You don't shit talk people and don't expect them to reciprocate in any sort of fashion. But Gayfish is unaware of what is it? Actions having consequences. Sorry, I'm like, what is it called? My brain is like shitting itself. I'm running circles mentally around myself and struggling to talk. This is a lot. I'm not gonna lie.
You relived pushing a decade of history in just about an hour, and some of it was more than most people I know would be comfortable speaking on, much less to a stranger. And I really appreciate it. I don't have much to add on top of that. I was saying this to some people. I was discussing not everything, but the nature of what we were going to be talking about. And my general disposition to this was, I really hoped that you were lying 100% because it was very bad. I would have rather this not be the case. I really would have, and I'm sorry for the things that you went through. No one deserves to go through that at all, and no one deserves to have those as memories that they have to deal with. And I'm personally, like person to person, I'm very impressed by you for having the courage to come out about this.
I do really appreciate. I'm not gonna lie. For a good bit of this, and even like my girlfriend was telling me that she was like proud of me for this. I have a hard time understanding when things apply to me with these kind of things, like when it's like fucked up shit. This is not my first rodeo in sexual abuse, so I took it in stride, I guess. And just tried to not let it wear me down like other shit would. But eventually, I guess just seeing Fawn do that or talk like that and knowing how oblivious I was and how badly I was just trying to be their friend because I just wanted friends, it really upsets me. It makes me feel really sick, I guess, as well, to my stomach, knowing that I was not only that I was used in that way, but coming back to Demon Mama messaging me now and saying this stuff, it feels so much like she's trying to save her ass.
Trying to save her ass? It feels like it?
Do you think it's telling or strange at all that she doesn't bring up what you guys both know passed between you and wants to sort of have the conversation even at this point as a victim
Yeah.
on her own end?
It is a bit strange, to say the least. I really don't like the fact that after all of this and how vocal she's been for victims of every kind of abuse, that the person that she talks and like she's brought up so much is someone she's actively done so much of it to. And whenever like I think about the fact that she just brings me up on stream, and I want to mention that as well, that she really oddly, she never talked about me. Like, she stopped bringing me up for like a year. Like, she didn't mention me at all. But relatively close to when all of this started going down, like timeline was, I randomly brought up and talked about, and I felt really uncomfortable being brought up by her. And I think that honestly spurred me down this mental line of going to you, to be honest. I thought I was done with Demon Mama when I left, and she stopped talking to me and stopped interacting with me like a friend. There was a good bit where we did talk and like interact while she was a streamer, but at some point it just became transactional and like work related exclusively. And then even then, at that point when I stopped working, I would go to her and be like, hey, we should play games. Hey, we should play games. Hey, we should play games. And I would get excuses and ignored.
Because you were no longer useful. You fed their fetish, you fed their bank account, and then they wanted you to fuck off. Sad to say, but that's what happens. It's very bad. It's very dog shit. But what do you expect? But what do you expect?
I felt like as soon as I wasn't of use to her, I was nothing.
One thing I wanted to say is, if Demon Mama was in the room with you right now and you could speak to her directly, what would you say to her about her conduct?
You wouldn't. You shouldn't.
I would.
You would say, I'm going to the police.
I'm
gonna see you in court.
I don't know why, if this is a standard that she supposedly has for other creators and other people around her, I don't know why it didn't apply to her and her partners. The people she interacted with then, I don't know why it didn't matter to her then. It just sucks. This fucking, what is it called? Demon Mama, just knowing how much I know about her as a person and knowing everything, it's just very, I guess because I was living through it, it wasn't surprising then because I was living through it, but now it's just really surprising to me that after all of this she's talked and how much she's pushed for all of these things, it all just goes back to being bullshit and being a front, and behind closed doors, once again, abusive behavior is at the front end of it, I guess. I don't know. I'm drawing a blank here. I'm like having a mental moment about all of this.
No, it's perfectly reasonable. As a matter of fact, we can go ahead and move on. I want to give you a chance to say you're Glooby. You're an adult now. You're separated from this. There's more than likely people are going to want to try to reach out to you. I will not provide them any direct way to do so, but if they wanted to support you via commissions, you are still an artist, or anything like that. Do you want to plug a way to try to help you out or support you?
Yes, get your money.
Do you have anything else?
Yes, get your money.
In closing.
Let me think if there's anything I missed before I get into that. Gone over that, went over that. Okay, I think I went over everything I wanted to. You can support me on Ko-fi. I think I have it somewhere. I can look it up. But I have a coffee if you want to support me. I don't expect or really want support if possible. I don't. That's not what I'm.
Oh, you're so
what is
modest.
it? Mentally and all that, doing that for. But that's an option if you want to commission me. I do animation and 2D art. I mostly do 2D animation though, as my main artistic ability. I will also say this about doing the animated stuff for Demon Mama. I got underpaid for that, and I had to argue with her to get better payment for that, and that's what spurred on the whole like, I need to, what is it called? What is it? The channel is struggling, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Like, I had to. I did 2 animated commissions for her. She has this little imp that pops up in all of her videos that does like the like and subscribe thing. That's also my work. And actually, this I forgot to mention. This is a big thing about the work stuff as well. For about a year and 3 months, my work was uncredited in her stuff after I left.
Oh no!
Man.
And I had to go to her DMs and be like, "Hey, my shit isn't being credited, and this is really upsetting me. Why hasn't this been updated?" And to her credit, it did at that point be updated, but I don't think it should take a year and a half or like year and 3 months for my work that you constantly still use on every single video to be credited, and especially if you're not going to pay me for the constant use of my work after the fact. I got paid like $40 and it's been used for like fucking 4 years now.
That. If you've watched my streams, I'm very pro workers' rights. I've been burned. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I get it. The frustration is miserable. Thankfully, I've only been ever screwed over by people I didn't like already, so there wasn't an extra bit of sting there. But I too am a little bit brain twisted. I kind of. And I'm stunned by this. You seem like a very resilient person. I can only wish you the best going forward from this. And I'm gonna end the call, or not the call, the recording. And then if you want to add anything after that, you can. But if you want to say your piece, and I'll end the recording, we can cut it there and then say our goodbyes.
Sure thing. Honestly, at this point, if there's anybody else in DM Cord that has had something similar, please say something about it, because I doubt I'm alone. At this point, I'm the only person that this has happened to, or something similar. If that is the case, please do come forward. I hope if my thing does anything and means anything, it allows other people to talk about their stuff. And for Demon Mama, you need help, and Fawn really needs help. It just sucks because I know there is a good person, maybe in there. There was a little bit, but for that kind.
But what if there wasn't, and you keep defending them? What then? What then?
Kind of shit, it's fucky. Yeah, I don't want them to like get destroyed and dogpiled and fucking annihilated because.
Why not? Did they not harm you? Did they not groom you? Did they not break you? Horribly affect your mental state by wondering for how long and for what they intended for you. If things have gotten worse, if things could have been worse, had they had more access to you. Why are you still trying to defend them?
I know they're people, and I even after all of it, I still care about what happens to them. I still care about them.
They don't care about what happens to you.
Being is very important to me. So if anything, I want it to be not overtly vicious overall towards them. It's not worth it. It's not going to bring me anything. It's not going to make me happy. It's not going to make me feel better. It's just going to stress me out and make me feel worse about the entire situation. So that being said, those fuckers need help really bad, because that's fucked.
They need help. They don't need jail. Got it.
And yeah, I got nothing else on that front.
Fair enough. Okay, thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.
They need help, but they don't need jail.
And I really appreciate you coming.
That's crazy. That's crazy. They need help, but they don't need jail. Man alive. Man a fuck alive. How do you do that? How do you allow them to escape justice? How do you not hold them to a court, bro? Crazy, 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 crazy. But that's the story. Demon Mama, confirmed predator. Confirmed predator, protecting and living and sleeping with another predator. Lock in. Lock in. How are we feeling, chat? I know that one's a steep one. How are we feeling? Let's get some opinions. Let's get some opinions. Let's hear from you. Some opinions. My opinion was very clear. Jail. It's my number one opinion. Actually, no. 3 opinions. 1, immediate suspension of all of their accounts. 2, investigation. 3, jail. Leave your thoughts. I'll be right back. Fucking Christ. How many times are we gonna have to reset the clock before somebody at YouTube finally fucking mans up and says, you know what? Y'all gotta go. Wish weren't like that. The sheer absence of thought. The sheer absence of thought. I wouldn't even necessarily say it's a measure of being vengeful. I wouldn't even say it's a matter of being vengeful. Things have happened to you. The amount of risk that had happened to you should lead you to say, they deserve help, and I'm going to make sure that they find it in a jail cell where they can't hurt anybody else. It's me. And for some reason, my fucking live chat's not updating on my cell phone. I swear to God, YouTube, your application's a dog water. Your application's a dog water. Make it impossible to use my own chat. Being vengeful by definition. I slightly disagree, but that's mostly the Fed in me talking. From the victim's standpoint, he wants them to seek help and get help. But he washes himself away from the situation despite being one of the many victims. Okay. After now reading the Justified comment, That's fair. That's fair then. This is much more the Batman situation than it is vigilante justice. If he wants to take the Batman position and say, hey, all I did was give Commissioner Gordon the information, and he walks away and say, hey, I ain't gotta help you, I also ain't gotta save you. Get him, Carl! Okay. That's justified. That's fair. By all means, they can do that. What I don't understand is the excuse making for them. Because there's two different... From the mind and position of the victim, there is the person that you knew in the situation, and then there's the person that is revealed. The person that you'd be defending is the person that you had experiences with, not the person who needs to stand the consequences of their actions. You can defend this person and say, the person I knew them at this time is like this, but you're still ultimately defending this person here if you say, and then they can't do that. And yes, it's hard to break Stockholm Syndrome. I can't hold that against him. Because he shouldn't have to have the mental or intestinal fortitude to stomach the problems, to deal with the problems. If anything, as I hammer this in, the left. Shit posters and the right versus the left as an institution of abuse. Get them in from playing Fortnite and Overwatch at young ages, monetize them, build up a career for yourself as being commies that believe in socialism, if not just outright tankies, and then act like the biggest gay, transsexual, transgender, or trans-trending dictators, and hugbox yourself in a fortress arc, in a perpetual fortress arc. And then maintain a whisper network to figure out who's going to turn and flip. And if you can't be able to convince them to remain silent, execute them socially. Or destroy their career so that they can't have a platform from which to speak from. That's some shit. My water should be done. I'll be right back. Alright. Let's switch gears. Let's switch gears, chat. Into some news that would have been reported yesterday, or rather some topics I would have brought up yesterday, had my body decided to not fucking belabor myself into pain. Where's your snooze? Where's your snooze? Bum bum ba-dum bum 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 ba-dum bum 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 bum. Ba-da-bum bum 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 ba-da-bum bum 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 ba-da-bum bum bum bum. Before we can switch over to those, let's get some fun topics out the way. Are you a bot or something? DOA has lost all meaning because of idiots like you. That's crazy. Let's read it before we respond to it. Dead Rising no longer rewards players for taking erotic in-game photos of women. Video game that is meant to demonstrate and commentate on the exploitative means of investigative journalism, with a mini-game system designed to demonstrate the corruption of how that system functions. All made for the purposes of a cash grab that monetizes a system that demonstrates an inability to understand the true key critical failure of the industry as a whole, where instead of actually understanding that what people want is the game with the same system and the same mechanics with better graphics, doing what we call an under-the-hood remaster/remake and bastardizing it into gray slop that doesn't offend the modern audience and conveys the message. Pointing out that it's dead on arrival, while not the greatest joke, that makes you a bot, chat. That makes it a bot, chat. What a take. What a take. And that game is dead on arrival, by the way. Dead on arrival doesn't even begin to take up the problem of Dead Rising. Turn my screen. Past that. There was a young man on the timeline that was complaining about the circumstances that he brought upon himself when he was upset about the issues that was brought about by the things that he got involved in, by the name of one Carter Del Walker. Or rather, the cartel Del. Whoop! Bah. Gonna have to change viewpoints for this one. Here we are. My tweet. You cannot work in an industry where you regularly attack your customers, and when people take the piss, while people do jobs better than yours, better than you can, be salty that they aren't as bitter as you want them to be. You literally got squelched when you spoke up about your personal pet issue of black women being made to look like aunties instead of being able to look like attractive women that are the standard most people would expect, ask for, and want. Going from their own tweets, while I set up the background. Watch later. History. And get sound effect. I don't want the interlude. Give me the other one. I don't want the jersey list. Give me another one. That'll work. We've never exchanged words. The connection we have is following each other on Twitter. I follow hundreds of outlets to track sentiment. I tweeted one time that I watched your Gollum video. That's not a friend of the channel. I'm not like these other devs that act sweet. You're free to be critical of me. Get your view count, whatever. You can say what you like, but using my name and calling me a friend of the channel is weird. In journalism, bringing up a person and trying to find a way to keep it light and comical while still making criticisms. Got him pressed. For those that don't remember, there's been a handful of times I've pitched black women characters that look like this, and after 10 iterations, the concept or model comes back without a speck of original beauty that I pitched. Not talking about mild changes. I'm talking pose, aura, styles, softness, age, flair. I hate giving Gamergate men fuel. Gamergate. But it's very difficult to pitch beautiful or vain black women into games without them coming back looking like grocery store aunties. There's room for both. Eventually, I'll make my own game studio and never complain again. For now, I have Wi-Fi on this flight, and I will vent relentlessly. For clarity, this is just an example to convey the point. Immediately comboed into, after some private DMs today with other black devs, I will no longer be publicly discussing black representation in games with the future. No more panels, no more articles, no more podcasts, no nothing. This is not up for discussion, nor is an invitation to try and change my mind. Cheers, and then you lock your shit. Damn, nigga, that's crazy. Damn, nigga, that's crazy. You felt so strongly. You felt so strongly about these things. But you feel even stronger about people referring to and talking about your plight. And you're mad about the way that they choose to contextualize this to you. You have to make choices, Del. Either you like being snarky, and it's fine to be little piggies in the mud when it comes to the internet, or it's always wrong, and even the most gentle joke that is at the expense of you or the industry at large that silenced you is hate speech. You can complain, but we didn't start the fire. It's all been burning since the world's been turning. And to that edge, the worst part is that the same people that you think that you're aiming your target at, critics like me, aren't the people who gagged you and stopped you to have your opinion publicly, which was your own industry. You try to treat the former like they're the devil, while it's our money that fuels and funds your business and literally keeps the latter up and going. It is literally like being a battered housewife, dude. And of course, Del did not respond to this, as expected. He's a size queen. He only wants to go after the big accounts and criticize him the best and the hardest and the most to his face. But he does name search. And I made sure to at him. So it is what it is, you ignore it. But this, alongside that comment from Dead Rising, brings an interesting context. How is it that you're more angry at the customers than you are the business that's killing your creativity? On the point of being a game designer, it's really hard to make sense of how you cut out your own tongue despite the face of all the people criticizing you. But you have so much energy to complain when people bring you up and they call you friend of the channel. What would you prefer? That we have the same bitterness that you have and call you a shit-sprinkling 8-big? We could do that. But I refer back to what I said about Susan Wojcicki. Would it then not be even more of the case example of you saying, oh, look at how hateful you are, we shouldn't listen to what they have to say, and you disregard what we have to say? That apparently seems to be what you want, but I'm sorry, we're not stupid. We're not stupid. I'm sorry, we're not stupid. I'm not stupid. I believe I'm not stupid. I think I have the right take on this. Because in what world do I need to light you up when I don't know you that well? Sure, I think your opinion's dumb, but I don't have to insult you any more than would be comically necessary. It's silly. Just like that guy's comment is silly, I can make a joke about it. I can point out how the logic is false, how it doesn't work, how it's cyclical. But that doesn't mean that I have to call him a cum guzzler. The scale of anti-consumer sentiments has gotten so far off that developers believe that it's more preferable for there to be never-ending violence and verbal slant than just calling a spade a fucking spade. It's a shovel. Bitch, pick it up. Stop digging a hole. I would be remiss to say that we don't understand the reason why they do it. It's because they can't criticize the cathedral. Because most of them either are or want to be cathedralites. To not be against the consumer would be ensuring the destitution of their own profitability score. The same way that they want to be seen and heard for the things they say and do, they want to have the ability to put a person on the mark and on the line for that problem. And they want to have the ability to point out a problem that somebody has to bring, that somebody has to say, and say, damn, I didn't know. Damn, that's horrible. It's just dumb. It's just dumb. It's cyclical and it's dumb. And I think that gamers are more against this than the developers are. Because honestly, the energy of the Goobergay and Goobergay 2 Electric Boogaloo is stupid. It's why I'm firmly against Brutus Rambo and fucking Grumps. Because they do nothing but keep up that energy. Perhaps he would be more preferable that they could say, haha, I can disregard them with much regard. But technically, to me, that says that you guys understand what you're doing is fucked up and wrong. And you know that the framework that you've set for the problem is hilarious. Another second. I'm being pinged in another server. 1 second. Sorry, somebody started asking me questions about some shit that they claimed that they already knew the answer to. Reminded of the generals in the Russian Civil War. Plenty of opportunity to squash the Reds, but each general had their own idea of how things should be done. Couldn't consolidate his united front and effectively have been defeated one by one, but could compare that almost to the entirety of anything in entertainment and culture war. Realistically, yes. We just saw a case example of how basically all the people together were responsible for the destruction of their own fucking interests and investment when it came to the left and covering up for Demon Mama. The same way that they would have done for Vosh. The same way that it would have done for anybody if the news source hadn't made it so very clear that everybody was aware of it, and therefore it was not even good to necessarily cover up for them. Same thing has been done with Sweet Baby Incorporated. Any particular group that is either paid money or hired directly by an ESG firm to ensure that their political blank check standards are followed and enforced, while at the same time saying, we have no power, going and hiding their names from their writer registries and actively going onto podcasts admitting that, oh yeah, we had the power to change things and we outright changed things, despite claiming that they didn't have the power to, but receiving roles in the company under titles that strictly and explicitly gave them the power to do so. It's shit that is that dumb, but you know, that's just to be expected. Where's this issue that I had yesterday? 1 second. I mean, ultimately, no matter how you look at the problem, it comes down to they don't care, they don't understand, or they do care, they do understand, and they're doing it actively because they believe you're stupid and think that you're going to easily give them a free win. However you look at it, it's the retarded shit you expect it to be. And it is retarded the longer you think about it, because it implicitly shows that they had a burning desire to lead to you being fucked over. Which then, of course, leads to the next article in question. Which brings us to the issue that we just discussed, featuring Dead Rising, and any other game that has had a remake like this. A remake that features a Warner Brother-esque, it was a different time post, and then immediately starts changing shit as a bait and switch for your fucking pre-order. Boo! Change the screen on this one. I guess we'll just use that screen. Unless... duplicate. There you go, article reading. Capcom would like to re-release all their classic fighting games on modern consoles. And then, should be SVC Chaos. There's multiple places that this comes from. You have one from Two Best Friends Play, you've got one from Bounding into Comics, and you have one from DEI Detected. This is annoying, but it is what it is. We're going to read from Bounding into Comics. SNK, SVC Chaos is re-released, censors cover art, adds disclaimer about apologizing for outdated content. Mai Shirinu, Chun-Li, High Five, and Yusuke Oge's key art for SVC Chaos 2024. And the latest case of unnecessary deferring to modern audience sensitivities, the re-release of SNK, SVC Chaos, has been found to feature a censored cover art, but also disclaimers apologizing for its early aughts era content. Originally released in 2003, serving as the third and thus final Capcom-produced meeting of the two respective video game studios, SNK versus Capcom, SVC Chaos sees 36 total characters from across their respective franchises, including KOF, Samurai Showdown, Street Fighter, and even Mega Man Zero, coming together to settle the score in a series of one-on-one brawls with the fate of universes hanging in the balance. In a move that nobody saw coming, during 2024 EVO World Fighting Game Championships, Capcom and SNK announced that the fan-favorite fighter would be receiving a re-release for the PlayStation 4, Nintendo Switch, and Steam platforms, first on PC on July 20th, and then on consoles on the 22nd, 2 days later. Upon its official announcement, Capcom and SNK released the game's full first trailer, therein revealing not only the game's various quality of life improvements, such as rollback netcode, woo, and its entire selection of characters being unlocked on boot up, but also its official key art, as illustrated by longtime SNK artist Isuke Ogura. Also featured is the re-released digital cover, the piece depicting members of the video game's roster as divided by the company lines, staring down and preparing to fight their counterparts, save for SNK's Mai Shiranui and Capcom's Chun-Li, who instead chose to engage in a high five rather than a fiery glare. In an admittedly beautiful piece, unfortunately, players soon discovered that the artwork that appears in both the trailer and the on-game digital storefront was intentionally censored. In the original version, both the aforementioned Mai and the purple-haired lead of Athena's series are shown with their cleavage prominently on display. Athena effectively meaning the series that is featured for Psycho Soldier? Yeah, Psycho Soldier. However, in the version used to promote the game in the West, Mai's chest is covered up by her gi, while Athena's is hidden by a black border and an added shine coming off of her sword, which is crazy. Further, in providing additional mea culpa regarding its character, the re-release of SVC Chaos also includes a disclaimer apologizing for the fact that the game's content was presented in its original form and thus had not received any type of sensitivity updates. This product aims to faithfully recreate the content of the original game at the time of release in 2003 as much as possible. Therefore, the content of this game does not represent the values of our company, but is provided is respecting the original intent of the game and not intended to promote or attack any particular ideology or group, like feminists or titties. Unsurprisingly, upon being met with this disclaimer, a number of players took to the game's Steam page to press the port's developer, Code Mystics, as for the reason behind both the application of censorship to the key art and the inclusion of said warning. Regarding the artwork, the developer clarified, to reiterate, the ROM, the in-game art, so keep in mind, they admitted, this is an emulation of the original product. This is built on the code similar to that of various games and other such companies that have made updated HD releases of past games. This is effectively a ROM. Buy the original game, please. Emulate the original game, please. The ROM, the in-game art, and the function have not been altered from the 2003 release. The opening disclaimer provided us to include likewise states that it faithfully recreates the content of the original game at the time of release in 2003 and is provided as I2S representing the original intent of the game. This applies to all regions. There is no distinct version of the game, Japanese version of the game. Steam store artwork may or may not vary per region, but we aren't privy to that. Which I find to be bullshit. Because it's an international rollout, with only a 2-day difference between the PC and the console. So whatever you're showing as a part of the digital work is obviously a representation that was intended by the company. There are 2 different versions that exist. If it was something that was done by either you or the company, you would have the ability to then change that for the thing. All you gotta do, take the one that's being used in Japan, put it up for the one that's in the US. Because now the question I have to ask is, who did it? 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 And why did you do it? I thought we liked breasts out here. There's only so many ways we can say this. They definitively asserted, we did not alter anything. Given Code Mystic's insight, it currently appears the censorship and disclaimer seen in SVC Chaos was either mandated by SNK or Capcom. Considering that we know that SNK has the support of the Saudi princes, ironically in a twist of fate, to preserve things and make as the Prince of Qatar said on behalf of the Qatari and the Saudi Arabian conglomerate of the Saudi Arabian Saudi Arabian Investment Fund, we believe that a Japanese company should remain in maintain a Japanese culture. The only one left, the only one who has consistently done this within the last few years and months, is Capcom. So, now that the re-release is available for PC, PlayStation 4, and Nintendo Switch, the question we now must ask ourselves is, since the only factor left is Capcom, does Capcom have the intention of bastardizing their entire library? It appears to be so. It appears to be so. And if that's the case, why the fuck would I buy any of your re-releases? Why? Why would I do it? It's a waste of money. You're admitting that it's a port. You're admitting that it's a port. But let's read the article. Doesn't seem to be very long, actually. There was a lot of hype when Capcom revealed the Marvel vs. Capcom Fighting Collection Arcade Classics, which is due out on the Nintendo Switch later this year. Shuhei Matsumoto, who is the producer of MVC Fighting Collection, told IGN recently that Capcom would like to reach as many people as possible by re-releasing all their classic fighting games on modern consoles. We want our classic games to be available for modern consoles because we just want to be able to reach as many people who may have never had the opportunity to play these games back in the day. So we constantly think forward and want to make sure that it's accessible to as many audiences as possible. So, instead of showing them a blast from the past where you could play video games that didn't suck ass, you want the video game to suck ass and be bland. Nigga, that's crazy. I didn't see any of that inside my fucking copy of Mega Man Battle Network. And those are basically glorified ports. Granted, they're the glorified full complete Japanese launch of the port, along with the e-reader data that would have only been accessible inside of Japan, but they glorified ROMs. But I was able to snag that shit for a price that's more fair than what the majority of these people on PC would be having. Please refer back to This Is Why Games Are $60. To buy that pack, which effectively only cost me about $45, was half of the on sale price of both Part 1 and Part 2, with Part 1 having more of the games and Part 2 having the remainder of those games. 10 games, split in a category of 6-4, charging you $30 on the savings for half, which means the full price of the games were $60. $120 for 10 ROMs. The only people who make out like gangbusters on that is the Switch players, and that's not even saying that that's a great deal. That's one example. You want to re-release the entire classic library, but you're censoring shit? That don't bode well. But of course, obviously, that should be true. Look none other than what we just covered concerning Dead Rising, because if people remember, Dead Rising is actually a part of those things. He's in Marvel vs. Capcom. Yes, he is. He's in the third one. And he's also a part of Tatsunoko vs. Capcom as well. Technically, that one is more a Wii era, but that's still considered a classic fighting game by these standards, considering how old the Wii is. So you're bastardizing your old prices. You're bastardizing your old products and licenses. You're fucking with your own shit. You're giving them a worse product that they could be able to get either free, or if they wanted to be legal, supplied to you by being able to buy one off the internet, if they can find one. How is this helping customers? Capcom? Who are these modern audience customers? Man alive. I'm being asked questions again. 1 second. Please, fill your thoughts to the chat room. I'm sure y'all got opinions. Anyways. Fuck remakes. Even the good ones like Reviler. Or is that Resident Evil 4? That looks like Resident Evil 4 remake. Was bad, and somehow a 2006 game was competing for 2023 Game of the Year just because they put it in a microwave. The thing that I never am happy with is the removal of content in remakes. I think a remake should add or celebrate, especially if the game was a hit. Well, unfortunately, most people don't consider that to be a standard that they can expect. It is very much the case example of they don't care. It's kind of like the restylization of the menu systems of Shin Megami Tensei following the popularity of the more recent game that brought the popularity to show how people lean more on Persona than on the main line. For SMT5, it follows the system and the menu design that was actually established in Tokyo Mirage Sessions, which is effectively a game that fuses the battle system and the computational understanding of SMT with the upgrade level parallel of that of Fire Emblem, and featuring call-out names of characters that were Fire Emblem characters, but they're more or less basically just demons. Like locked-in demons, the only thing you can change is the weapon that you're equipped with and the skills that you give them. Whereas for Persona, because Persona 5 is the point that pretty much blew up and made the most money, Persona 5's system was grafted onto Persona 4. Or actually, excuse me, I shouldn't say Persona 4 directly. They got a mod for it, but it was directly grafted onto Persona 3. Which thus shows you that they care more about 3 through 5 than they do about 1 and 2. Mainly because those are the ones people remember for popularity's sake. Whether it be because of memes or anything else. All in all, my problem with remakes is the same problem I have with remasters that I've stated before, and I will restate again. When you make a game, you need to be clear if you're making a remake or a remaster. If you make a remaster, nothing goes out. The only things you do is you add options. The example of Nocturne HD is this. If you want to play original Nocturne, you have that choice. Granted, I believe you have to buy the DLC, but you have that choice. And if you want to play Maniacs, which means both Candelabra fights as well as Dante, you can do that. And it's done when you first select your character. Same way, you can be able to choose your difficulty when you first, I say select your character, I mean when you first start to make a new save file. As well as your difficulty choice, if you want to play on the actual truer difficulties you should be playing on, or if you want to play on journal mode, that is also a choice. One could see that as a compromise of bastardization, and realistically it is, but the choice is preserved. A remake is what we call an under-the-hood alteration. You go inside of it, you get all up in the guts of the machine, and you're ripping parts of it out. Things that you think are superfluous, that you don't need them to run to. And what happens when you do this is that you're either ripping out something that is necessary, or you're ripping out something that, while it doesn't have to exist there in order for it to function, you are systematically changing it in a capacity that demonstrates that you do not understand it. The case example that I gave on that cut that I just posted to Twitter is exemplification of understanding what Dead Rising was about. To remove the revert aspect of the picture shot mode demonstrates that you don't get what it's about. The same way that the entirety of the remake made by Ninja Theory in the form of D lowercase MC means that you don't get the universe of Devil May Cry is clear and apt. The bastardization and the concept itself of what you choose to rip out of the product because you think it's too cringy, even the thing that you wanted to have because you wanted that to be the one that was popular, then even they thought it was cringy, means that you don't have any true committal to a vision. And you don't see the vision either. You see and hear what you want people to put in it, but you don't have any ideas of how that's meant to fix, and how that's meant to mix, and how that's meant to meld. Because it has no idea of how it's meant to be fixed, and how it's supposed to have cohesion, and how it's supposed to work, how it's supposed to process, how it's supposed to be understood, and accepted, and cherished, and loved. It's like if I was to tell you that in a week, they're going to be dropping a remake of Dragon Quest VIII, Journey of the Cursed King, or a remake of Star Ocean 3 Till the End of Time's Director's Cut. And what they ended up doing was destroying the integrity of the original puzzles, both for the fact that they'd have to modernize them for updated standards because in that version, The PS2 DualShock controller has haptic controls on the pressure plates that, for certain puzzles, the way that you press the button and how long you press the button controls the input of a particular action. Especially considering that entire game system was based on that, as most games in Star Ocean were. Same thing would exist for Beautiful Joe, God Hand, Legend of Zelda, Wind Waker, and other games like it that have particular quirks. Lord knows if they were to make a remaster and remake of the Boktai series, Boktai, The Sun Is in Your Hands. One of the precursors that led to the designs that became emblematic of Mega Man Battle Network, if you didn't know, to the point that they got a call-out, and a very bad spiritual successor when they moved from the GBA to the DS and 3DS era. I believe this would be around about the creation of the fourth or fifth game. All of those things, all of their stuff. It's not that they took it out. When you take picture shots, you're not going to be rewarded for taking the kind of shots that they consider to be bad. The gravure element of the game is what they're taking out of it, claiming that it's bad for modern audiences. What you're effectively ripping out is the charm and the soul of the game. Now, the problem is not, so you really need to have the ability to take creep shots of women, Carl? I'm not even talking about that. It's the fact that you're destroying something and you believe that you're doing it because a modern audience requires you to. If the modern audience is intelligent, they understand that by taking this out, they are inherently not playing Dead Rising anymore. At that point, the only thing you're doing is justifying that when you play Dead Rising, in order to play Dead Rising, you have to watch it like a movie. Remove all of the puzzle, remove all of that shit, or, if you want to use a better example, the difference between Final Fantasy VII and Final Fantasy VII Interim Rebirth, which is to say, the fucking remake. There was no need for extra bullshit puzzles and extra bullshit driving sections to be added to Final Fantasy like I'm playing Kingdom Hearts. Now, an argument that could be made about that is that Kingdom Hearts chose to do that for a lot of its gameplay content. There's lots of sections, including the entire minigame sections of traveling between worlds with gummy ships. And yet the charm of that, in my opinion, for Kingdom Hearts 1 and Kingdom Hearts 2, is that those then become minigames in and of themselves, an entirely separate function, just like that for Final Fantasy X, Blitzball, entirely different functioning section of the game. The Golden Saucer, entirely different section of the game. Shit, all the way back to Final Fantasy 1 and Final Fantasy 2, the Frog Spell, or the hidden puzzle slide menu. All of these things are a part of the charm of the game, of things that people figured out as secrets. Everything from the Peninsula Power to a guaranteed tactic that allows you to power farm rupees when playing Majora's Mask. When you rip these concepts out of the game, you are functionally breaking them, and they are no longer that thing. That's why I'm really happy that there has never been a modern remake of things like Legacy of Kain, because you can't remake it. You can't. You cannot. You can't remake it. You can't remake God Hand. You can barely be able to justify remaking Beautiful Joe, and all you have to do is just bring together all three of his games and do what they did for Chain of Memories. Chain of Memories and the other one, which was to make a console-capable example that then didn't have destroyed picture quality. That's all you have to do. But they're not going to do that, because it's not about remaking the games. It's about changing the context in which they're being made in and played in to remove the icky elements. The icky elements that made your company rich and powerful. That's a problem. That's slapping the customer in the face. And then, to add this on to the Del Walker dick, slapping those customers in the face and telling them, fuck you, we deserve and have the right to do this, and then coming to you saying, please won't you buy our original games? We want to make things for a new audience. We want audiences to enjoy our collection. But don't you dare have no business on it, or we gonna fucking kill you! That's horrific. That's horrific. It disgusts me. It disgusts me. I'd rather pirate your shit than support that. Anyways. On the with. Talking on setup, on setup, like you know me. But on the team, not on the play. And I know what I want to say. I'm not to get up, in not to touch up, on the weave. Remaking a game is so easy. One dude with support for the freelance art remade the entirety of Simpson Hit and Run on Unreal 4 or 5. Design and progression is already done. You just have to make the controls feel the same, update the assets that need to be updated, and then remake it. It's a lot easier said than done when considering the art aspect, but I consider myself to the concept of the actual social aspect of the promotion and the philosophy of design with the mechanics of the game. The problem with a remaster and a remake is effectively, it is now 3 p.m. The problem of a remaster and a remake is the philosophy design of rebuilding and making a newer version of a patented machine with a proprietary process. If I could create a simulacrum of myself and everything that I have here on my live stream, but I slowly dumbed it down so that the recreation of my work is an even further bastardized example of the actual living Carl, the example problem becomes obvious. It doesn't move the same, it doesn't feel the same, it doesn't look the same, it doesn't behave the same. The coding is written differently. Even if the art itself is updated, is it truly single-player Carl? Remove my name and insert the name of any video game. That's the argument. The art be damned. Does the game function better than its original version? Example, Tokyo Mirage Sessions and Tokyo Mirage Sessions Encore. In the original game, especially the ones that are not the update, the art censorship is not present. The vagina bones! In the sequel, even with more content, and with an update to the battle speed of the original game's speed clock, there's not only censorship, but added and restored and removed content. If it's supposed to be a update that adds more, why are you taking away? And even if you want to say the censorship has to be there, okay, why is there not a slider that allows me to turn the censorship off? Why is that choice being made for me? That's the problem. That's what consumers shouldn't ask for and should never accept. And because they don't have an answer to that, my answer is, get bent, give me the original ROM without you fucking with it. The gamers will do it themselves. If they won't give it to us, we'll do it ourselves. Just give us the source code. It doesn't even have to be anything close to the argument that could be made about Stop Killing Games from that of Thor, of Pirate Software. You literally could just give the source code, and we'll figure it out. You won't be held accountable because you have no interest. But they would try to take ownership over the investment and the profits that could be gained from it. So, it's untenable out the gate. It's just untenable out the gate. They're being deceitful. They're not being honest. And worse, to add on top of that, that's not even bringing up their desire to have the ability to consider a non-Japanese director to be added to the Capcom board. Western imperialism, pure and simple. It's Western imperialism, pure and simple. But I would argue, Lucas, that a remake is not just redoing the art. Remaking a game means rebuilding it from the bottom up. It's the difference of refurbishing a machine and completely recreating the design of the machine with a new focus and a new design in mind. If I refurbish a game, that's a remaster. If I remake a game, that is a remake. If I go into a machine and I replace parts and I repair parts, and where I cannot be able to replace and repair or switch out for ones that would have functioned, made at the time of their creation, but instead have to make new ones to fit in their place, that's what I would call an under the hood remaster. Because it's a remaster with the functionality of both worlds. Being able to take out the pieces that may have been broken, while still retaining the proprietary design in question. By redoing the art, they are probably going to change the perspective itself. There are people who are going to be upset about that to begin with in general. The point is, while one can get stuck in the weeds, the question you need to ask yourself is, should you be paying full price for a ROM? Because they're ROMs. They're outright admitting that they are ROMs. They're giving you ROMs. Remastered ROMs. That means the same function should exist in the original version, which you can get for free, because the ROMs have already been dumped online. Should you be paying full price for a ROM with less content than its original when you can get the original for free? And mind you, these are not current year games. At least with the exception of Sony proprietary products. You can go find them on their original consoles, find a PC form emulator that will run them, and run them. For some of these, they don't even have ones that are past the 8th generation. And the 8th generation was the generation that came to the Wii U. If we have the ability to emulate the Wii and Wii U library to the point where speedrunners can have different variations of the game, like all the fucking Zelda speedrunners, and all the Zelda hacks, Kaizo hacks, Mario, Super Mario Sunshine, Super Mario Galaxy, etc., etc., etc. If they have the ability to make those for homebrew, as well as being able to have the ability to break their consoles and then open them up so they can be able to use hack software, then there's nothing stopping us from really making this possible, other than the company standing in our way. Like, I don't see how the issue could be any more or less simple. But of course, this is my opinion. You don't have to agree with my opinion. I digress, however. Let me make sure and see if I have any other news topics that need to be covered. I do not believe I do. No, not unless we're particularly looking at the one that has to do with, ones that I've already covered in the past or have nothing to do with games that are currently happening. Looking through the videos. Nope. Actually, I do have an update for you. Because of people choosing to stalk Mama Max, he has been released as a volunteer from the organization that was focusing on helping abused children. As we saw from when we did this covering, from the reporting given originally by Chud Logic, this seems to be a Reddit-based action, since there are so many people who were frothing at the mouth for the audacity of attempting to rebuild for himself. No lesson will be learned from this. They just literally harassed him out of a fucking volunteer position. On one hand, Carl, he wouldn't have lost it if he hadn't done the shit that he did concerning all those people, including Spencer. On the other hand, how is he going to learn consequences and responsibility and how to better treat himself if he's being harassed and stalked on the internet so he cannot be able to give to be bettering himself with better works and better projects that don't put him in drama and actually lead to good outcomes and good benefits. This is where harassment campaigns and lolcow behavior goes incredibly, horribly wrong. Every person who was responsible for forcing this to happen, and you're calling this a victory, you're a fucking harasser. Simple as. Simple as. Because what happens when you decide to do this? He goes back to doing the same shit, and then you treat him like a lolcow. This is called cow tipping. This is what you're not supposed to be for. Looking through the timeline. Ironically, I'm coming across timeline examples that Christina actually agrees with my opinion about the removal of things, as seen here. Why, in the choice to remove things for censorship, why is it that instead of taking away the option itself, you're adding the option for men? But I don't think I'm seeing anything of particular breaking news or of interesting news that deserves to have its entire segment time here. Because the rest of the timeline is literally just boring. The rest of the timeline is literally just boring. Yeah, no. Everything else just seems to be UK policy news. So that is what it is, I suppose. Either way, I hope y'all motherfuckers had a wonderful time today. Outside of, the tragic news, but I hope y'all motherfuckers had a wonderful time today. Please do remember, I am Carl, this is my channel, and I am Carl, in my house, vibing. There will be a versus chat at 6 p.m. today. If you are new here, and you would like to be able to support the channel, please consider clicking on the low bar and dropping down the multitudes of locations where Carl and Carl accessories can be found and sold. Consider donation, consider supporting, consider joining the Discord and becoming a Carlist and joining Carl and Company. And remember, as one considers becoming a member of the United Carl Negro Foundation, a Carl is a terrible thing to waste. And support your own niggatry today, or you hate black people. Goodbye, everybody. Goodbye. 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 Goodbye.